The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. I think
He missed the complete. That is crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
3 weeks ago, these drivers and teams drove on the beautiful shores of Phillip Island, where pit strategy led to some new names up front. But since then, we've headed north across the Pacific Ocean to Suzuka. Welcome to Japan, ladies and gentlemen, for round 4 of the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series at Suzuka International Racing Circuit. This is live sim racing presented by the Global Sim Racing Channel. My name is Trevor Cameron, and I'll be your guide for the next 2.5 hours of multi-class racing action around the tight corners here in Japan. Up here in the booth with me, I have James Carula, covering the Street Tuner Class MX-5s, and Bill Soupzon, watching the Grand Sport Class Ford Mustang FR500S cars. Back behind the curtain, making sure you never miss any of the on-screen action, we have our director, Amjad Yamin, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Suzuka is a more demanding course than Phillip Island, with 5 more turns in a tighter configuration that is almost a mile longer. And I have it on good authority that Suzuka actually translates to slick and slippery. James, what can you tell us about what these drivers are going to be racing tonight?
Well, Trevor, I'm not too up to date on my Japanese, but I could absolutely believe that translation to be correct. But we have just a fascinating racetrack here. So much history here at this speedway. It's only seen 4 different configurations, all in the name of safety here over the years, but definitely has not gone down in excitement, especially down there in the Casio corner. Prost and Senna, anyone. But let's go take a lap around here in the MX-5s by our multi-talented Amjad Yamin here.
All right, we've got Amjad Yamin in the GSRC MX-5, so let's do a lap around Suzuka. The front stretch is going to be a long blast in this car, so the draft may create passing opportunities, but the braking into 1 and 2 will definitely discourage guys trying to enter side by side. You might see a game of chicken into these corners a few times during the race. There's a lot of banking here in turn 2, so you'll really want to use it to carry your speed out towards the S's. But from here on out, your line is going to be critical. Each corner flows into the next, so getting offline will screw up your rhythm and be extra costly to your lap time. It should be single file through here after the first lap. Now, coming out of this last right-hander, you want to hug the right to get a nice launch into the Dunlop curve. If you hit it right, you'll be flat out all the way to Degner 1. Get it wrong, and you'll either have to lift or risk drifting into the dirt on the outside. Now, the Degner corners will be another place where I would not advise trying to enter side by side. It's just a little bit of braking, glance off the curb, and get it straightened for Degner 2. Once again, you've got a heavily cambered corner, so you can take more speed than you'd expect through here. From there, you've got a short time to relax before we hit the hairpin. This little right-hand kink before it can make the braking tricky and setting up a pass even trickier. But it's definitely one of the better passing spots on this very technical circuit. However, the most important part here is setting up your exit, because the blast around the long, gentle turn 12 will be full power the whole way. This is another spot where the draft may offer you an opportunity to close up and get a nose in on your competitor, especially if you're trailing them closely. It's also a bit safer to have a go since there's plenty of runoff around the outside of Spoon. This corner is another one that requires accuracy because it's really a double apexer. If you drift wide after the first part, say goodbye to your hopes of hitting the second apex. And just to add insult to injury, if you did miss it, you've got the backstretch to worry about. Without a good exit, the combination of the draft and the long run means the car behind you is probably going to be looking up the inside. If this happens, hope you've got some large stones, because now we're heading towards 130R. It's just the lightest of braking, hit your marks, and get back on the power through this fearsomely fast bend. But before you know it, you're now setting up for the Casio Triangle. Here is your last good place to try to overtake. It's probably the heaviest braking zone, but with the chicane there can still be some difficulties getting the job done, especially if the other guy is a good defender. Still, the exit's going to be important once again, because now we're dumped back on the pit straight, and you'll want every ounce of oomph the little Mazda engine can give you. As you come across the line, you've finished a lap around Suzuka.
Well, thank you very much for that tour around this wonderful course there, Amjad. Expertly done. We're about 8 minutes out from taking the grid here, Bill, and I know you are always sitting there chomping at the bit, waiting to get through these championship points because you love it so much. So why don't you take us through where we stand after 3 rounds in this series?
Well, team racing is always a challenge to get this done. We're going to start by bringing up what I believe are the Mustang Team Championship here, I believe. There we go, the GS teams. Okay, we got a lot of Bush Fink colors in there. You got Bush Fink Blue. They're out in front, 250 points. Now you have Extreme. That's the number 38 car. Now, as the race goes on, we'll talk about what drivers are piloting these machines today. Bush Fink Red, 40 back. Extreme number 32, 59 back. And then Flying Tortoise back there, 80 points back. So there's your top 5. Again, as we go through the race, we'll tell you who's in what car for these guys. Now, the individual drivers. I love Jeff Jacobs because he may not be the fastest driver. He's certainly what my partner Richard Losser would call a serviceable driver. But man, he has friends, and he's either racing with a fast driver with him. That puts him in the top of the points right now. Now he's 6 points up on Mika Eshaus. Okay, now Patrick Bieri, 37 back. In fact, I believe Bieri partnered one time with Jacobs. I don't want to get this wrong, but I think he did, and I think Todd Honzarenko was Jacobs' other partner. And then Jacobs soloed one race. Craig Williams at 46 points, doing well there. And then Kevin Ford back there, 65 points back. Now we're going to look at the little MX-5 class, the Street Tuners. Now, this is all about Asbury Motorsports or 49 Motorsports, and right in the middle is Team Potato USA. Asbury Motorsports is number 74, 244. I'm pretty sure, I haven't done the research, but I'm pretty sure that's the team that's been piloted mostly by Sonny Ketchen and Thomas Szabo. They're out in front there for that team. 49 Motorsports, number 49, 16 points back. Team Potato USA, 27 back. Asbury Motorsports, their number 426 machine, 45 back. And then rounding out the top 5, 49 Motorsports, the number 47. Let's go to the individual drivers, and I'll show you what we're talking about. There you see Thomas Szabo and Sonny Ketchen. They're both up there. Now, they're tied with 282 points because they're partners, and they've done exactly the same. As long as they stay in the same car, nobody misses a race, they'll be matched up like that the whole time. But chances are sometimes they break those things up a little bit, so that may not stay that way throughout the season. Here's the guy, Giuseppe Iannucci from New York, 24 points back, and he is fast and he is sneaky. Andre Saunders, 66 back, and then we go to, this is a new guy, a name that we're not familiar with, but boy, he is fast. Nicholas Taymans, really good. A great partner, I believe, with Iannucci, so keep an eye on that as we go through. So that's it. I'll put in a little Japanese for you with Domo Arigato Mr. Roboto. If anyone's old enough to remember that one, if we're gonna get a little Japanese out there, let me throw it back to to our host.
Well, sadly enough, Bill, I know exactly what you're talking about because I'm of the age that fits just perfectly with.
There you go.
But speaking of the last race here, we had some differing pit strategies, which actually did play out to a little bit of a shakeup of the order, at least midway through the race. But in the end, the Fords, we had Team Bushfink and Extreme Motorsports, as you saw with the standings there, not surprising, but they had a clean sweep of the top 5. So I'm wondering what it's going to take for these teams here to maybe break up that dominance and see if they can't break into that top 5 or maybe even to a podium position here. It's a tough, challenging track, and it's slick and slippery out there, and that might play to some other drivers' strengths. We're going to have to see. Speaking of this track here, I mean, it is a fairly long rundown in turn 1 there with a couple of tight corners at the end of it. So I'm going to be interesting with these double starts as we get this Mustang started first and then the MX-5s and see if anybody's going to have to use that runoff area off the edge there because it gets pretty tight pretty quick as those guys are running into that corner. Of course, we have those that rhythm section there through turns 2 or 2 through 7 actually. Then we've got that hairpin there, which is, can cause some problems. And I did see some problems in some earlier races, especially in the Title Influence race that raced earlier today. You got that sharp turn with the elevation change, and that can upset these cars, as I actually saw it happen a couple times there. And of course, at the end of that lap, you're going to have 15 and 16 that you're going to have to get right. Those the Casio, what is it, Bill? The Casio turns? I
think Casio triangle. I think it is
triangle. That's right. I remember looking at saying it doesn't look like a triangle. Although it looks like a bunch of S's.
Although my partner Richard Losper called it the Cassiopeia triangle today, so that was kind of nice there. Getting a little Greek goddess in there. One of the things one of the things that this long track supports is that we're not going to have the traffic like we usually have. I think we have 11 Mustangs here today and 9 MX-5s. So while traffic always plays a factor in these events with multi-class racing, on such a long track like this and a relatively small field, it should be pretty easy to negotiate the cars here today.
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. I mean, although, man, I mean, this course is one of the ones that I've always struggled with anytime I've raced it here, because it's just that rhythm that you have to get into, and it's so easy to get out of that rhythm, especially if you're not running in traffic and you're just kind of racing the track, and you get into that rhythm, but all of a sudden you're not racing anybody, you're not chasing anybody, so it's real easy to lose your train of thought at that point in time.
Well, if you catch an MX-5, if you're a Mustang, you catch an MX-5 going into the S's, you may have to wait a while, because it's really not easy. If you're an MX-5 driver, you don't want to lose your rhythm. You really don't want to miss any apexes through there. You get kind of a flow going, especially if you're battling with somebody. So that's probably where you're going to see a lot of Mustangs maybe get impatient. But it's a long race with a small field. I think we should be pretty good today. Hopefully we can go green the whole way. That would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just the race fan in me, but I always like to see at least one yellow to kind of pack them back up again, so we can let them loose and see what they can do with each other, give some extra chances for passing here. Looking at the timing here, looks like we've got about a 218, 219 range for the faster Mustangs, while the faster MX-5s are about 224, 225. So we got about a 5-6 second difference between these guys, which overall, in a course of a lap as long as this, that's not that big of a difference. So even when they catch them, like you were saying, Bill, it doesn't look like they're going to have him, it's not going to be a done deal to get by them.
No, I think pit strategy should be interesting. I think we'll be okay that way. There's a lot of places for the MX-5 to get out of the way here, except during those S's. I think we should be okay. Boy, though, James, during I did a race with the MX-5s earlier, the MX-5 World Tour. And I know you're an open wheeler. You like those Indy cars, but man, some of the MX-5s were having trouble in here, even at the some of the fast corners. Man, I saw drivers making mistakes that usually don't.
Yeah, and again, I think one of the big things that we've heard so far is that this is a rhythm track, and if you get out of that rhythm a little bit here, especially in these cars, I mean, if you upset the car just that little bit, you could easily lose control pretty quick, and you'll be spinning around here. Especially the S curves are a really big part, but also coming down through the places like the Degner curve, 8 coming into turn 9, a real fast sweeping turn right there. That it's real easy that if you get that curb a little too much, you could be spinning around here just a little bit. So definitely had to be patient, get around the slower traffic just a little bit nicer here. Will definitely be key in order to have a good finish here today.
And if you want to, a little shameless plug here, if you want to see James do some racing, check in on alternating Wednesdays for the Lionheart series. That's an open wheel series for the Indy cars. One of the best series, one of the best organized series I've been associated with, and I'm glad the Global Sim Racing channel gets to do it. Alternating Wednesdays for some IndyCar simulated racing. Good stuff.
Yeah, definitely, Bill. I've actually had the privilege of being up in the booth for one of those guys' races before, and it is a talented group of drivers down there in the IndyCar for sure.
Impressive. I'll definitely take that compliment there. Thanks for the compliment. But yeah, IndyCar's a whole lot of fun. I hang out with you guys a decent amount here throughout the week, and this is actually my first time here covering the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series, and I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard such great things about this series throughout the years, even before I watched the race, I've had Joe Peak come in here and tell me a lot of great things about it, how they run things. So definitely very much looking forward to covering this race today. I love my multi-class racing. It's always a blast.
The weather feels pretty good for the guys today. It's a little bit overcast. Doesn't seem to be too hot today. It's 75 degrees and the track temp is only 86 degrees, so traction should be not a problem here. These guys should be pretty happy with that. Partly cloudy. Late afternoon skies, you can see those long shadows. Something iRacing has put in is really, really pretty, don't you think, Trevor?
Yeah, I mean, if I had the choice, I think every race would be done at late afternoon because the way that the shadows hit and the sun and just the oranges, it's just a beautiful, beautiful sight. So until we can get day to night transitions, every race should be done at late afternoon as far as I'm concerned.
And what they do to kind of give a little synchronicity to it, the kind of sister series, the MX5 World Tour today raced at afternoon, and then we come back a few hours later and race in this light. So even though a lot of these drivers raced earlier today, track conditions, it's a lot cooler than it was for them earlier today. They should have a lot better traction in those MX5s.
Yeah, definitely. And it's I'm actually watching some of these guys who race the MX5 this afternoon and are now racing these big tank beasts, these Fords, and to see how they handle the little bit more speed and the little bit extra braking time required to get these tanks slowed down.
It helps on the testosterone level to at least put one race in on the Mustangs. I'm not sure how those guys do it, doing basically 3.5 hours in those little MX5s.
Well, Bill, looks like we've finished up qualifying. I don't think anybody else is taking any other laps there. The counter is counting down till we're getting ready to grid here. So why don't we go through the standings here as we're going to start this race. And starting on pole, looks like we have Team Bushfink Racing Blue taking the pole in the 23 car. In second position, Extreme Motorsports 1. In third, we have Extreme Motorsports 2. We have Team Bushfink Racing Red starting in fourth position. Starting in fifth, we have 49 Motorsports, the B team from that team. So we don't have a clean sweep of the top five for those two top teams. And then rounding out the top six, we have Team Bushfink Racing Yellow. Bill, where do we have seventh?
Quite a spectrum there for Bushfink Racing. Looking down there, I don't have quite the colors that you have. I have Wild Horse Racing in seventh. Then my favorite, Slow Johnson Racing. I love Slow Johnson Racing. He's a bit of a self-effacing there. He's actually not that slow. Flying Tortoise Motorsports. I'd like to see one of those starting in ninth position. 10th position goes to iRacing Today Motorsports. 11th spot is going to go. It's good to see Mama Jean Racing back out here. Mama Jean, we have your paint scheme on there today. And then I'll go into actually the 12th spot there. I'm going to actually give the first car in the MX-5s there, and that's going to be Asbury Motorsports number 74. James, let me throw it over to you.
And we'll have the Asbury Motorsports number 426 starting right behind them in 13th position. Then you have 49 Motorsports A starting here in 14th. Asbury Motorsports number 75 will be starting in 15th. Right next to them will be Phoenix Racing. 49 Motorsports C will be in 17th. Heat and Bake Racing will be in 18th. I'll go and run out the field here. Extreme Motorsports will be starting in the 19th position, and Mama Jean Racing Vermouth will be starting shotgun on the field.
So, Bill, I mean, I know we've talked about Mama Jean Racing before, but we've got gin and vermouth. I mean, do they get along? Do they cohabitate the same glass?
That makes a nice martini, and if there was a third class, there'd be Mama Jean Racing Black Olive. So yes, she's Mama Jean is my 93-year-old mother-in-law, and she actually wanted to drive. She said, "Can you please get me on iRacing and teach me how to drive?" And so as a courtesy to all the drivers, I said, let's just get you a racing team instead. So Mama Jean, there you go. Gin and vermouth, baby.
So is Mama Jean sitting back watching the broadcast and having a nice dry martini to enjoy the festivities?
She is, and we're working on our team speak, so we're hoping to get an interview from her later this season.
So for those not familiar with the way that we start this out, we do have the two classes of cars. As they finish up this pace lap, they will separate the MX-5s back a little bit so that we will actually get the actual green flag from iRacing as the Fords head up towards the start-finish line, as we are getting close to doing. And we are going green. I forgot we're not doing a full lap here. And we are going green here as they head down towards the first corner. Ooh, tight racing. We got a couple little bit of too wide here. Not sure if they're going to make it through there. Oof, that can get pretty tight on that turn one, but looks like we've made it all the way through there without any contact that I've seen so far.
And we have big calamity going on here in the ST class as we see I believe that it is Andre Saunders, or no, it is Thomas Zaub in the Asbury Motorsports number 74, who will take the lead heading in there. Big jump there on the start. It looks like they got all organized back there to get back going again.
All right, back up front, Bill. How are the Mustangs handling here so far? Looks like we got a little bit of challenge around position 3.
Yeah, let's go ahead and give you some driver names. James King is out there in front for Team Bushfink Racing Blue. He's going to be the leader in there to start this off. Keep an eye on that number 2. Todd Honzarenko now is in the second place. That's Extreme Motorsports. Interesting to see him out early. He's a real hot shoe. Don't be surprised if you don't see him make a move here. Third position, Liam Hackwith running in there for Extreme Motorsports 2. Then Greg Parks in fourth position for Bushfink Racing Red, rounding out the top 5. Everyone seems to be good. Dexter Castro, I think he's soloing it today in the 49 Motorsports, running in fifth position.
All right, looks like those guys have actually gotten pretty straight. I'm actually a little surprised. I expected to see a little bit more mixing up as they went into the corner there, but so far, so good. But going back to the MX-5s, looks like Thomas Zabo has Andre Saunders hot on his heel for the lead of that class.
Yeah, after the calamity going down through the start, we have gotten a little more organized here. And again, Zabo in the Asbury Motorsports number 74 is leading Andre Saunders in the 49 Motorsports A. They have a pretty big get back to Richard Losper in the Asbury Motorsports 426. After him will be Tom, Rache in the Asbury Motorsports number 75. And Brian Cartier in the Phoenix Racing MX-5 throughout your top 5 here, coming down here to the Casio Triangle to complete your first lap.
And I'm going to jump in real quick, as I expected. While James was going through the list there, Hans Renko did get around James King, so we have a new leader in the Mustang. Not really a big surprise there. And now King is really under pressure from Hackwith. What we'll watch here is Hans Renko is really going to start to put this down. I would imagine what we'll see from Extreme Motorsports is probably a 2-stop race where Hans Renko does the opening and then does the second. He's teamed up with Kevin Ford, and Kevin's not a slouch. Boy, that's going to be a tough team to stay in touch with. Hans Renko and Ford going to be a tough combination. Let's look back at the MX-5s. What do we see going back there? Still Zabo out in front with Saunders right behind. James?
Yeah, Zabo's still out in front with Saunders, and they are having their own little battle up there. Richard Losper has been moving back into the clutches of Tom Raji in the Asbury Motorsports 75 as well, to have this nice little 4-car battle here that also includes Brian Cartier and Chris Hudson in the 49 Motorsports C. But we have those 2 out in front and then those 4 back there. Let's see, and I'm seeing that Michael Key had a self-spin. That's what spread out that class there.
What may happen there is Zabo looks like he's going to pace it. I think what Andre Saunders is going to do is to sit back in behind. Zabo is so fast. I wouldn't be surprised if Saunders just sits in behind. Not only will he get to go fast along with Zabo, as I say that, it looks like he might be peaking to make a move, but he's also saving fuel. They start with the same amount of fuel, so in theory they have to use the same amount of fuel to get to the end of 2.5 hours, but they don't burn the same. And what Saunders is doing right now, he's burning a lot less sitting behind Zabo there.
Yeah, and especially with these long straightaways here that we have here at Suzuka, you could definitely, the draft will play a big role. And these two, I mean, they, each corners, they just check out just a little bit more. I think that we'll have a little bit of cooperation.
I'm going to interrupt. Let's go to second place of the Mustang. I have 3 wide going into 1. Out in front is James King. Now it's 2 wide with Craig Parks on the inside, making a move on half with Parks gets that done. Now Parks is going to go a little bit wide, get a bad exit. Now peeking in. Inside, it's really a 4-car battle. There's Dexter Castro looking for a spot to go. What's happening up here is James King is probably the slowest of all these cars behind him. He's got a nice little train going all the way back to Bifocal, all the way back even to Slow Johnson Racing, running in 8th position. These guys are Well, I don't think there's much chance of them actually getting a hold of Hans Zarenko in Extreme Motorsports 1. I think they would like to at least get a chance here, so King really doing a good job hanging on to second place, but they're getting hungry behind him. It's unusual to see the Mustangs so bunched up like this. Usually that's something we see from the underpowered MX-5s because the draft plays, even though the draft plays an effect on the Mustangs as well, it really plays a giant effect on the little cars. As they go through the hairpin now, King does not get a good exit. Look for Parks to make a move. Parks trying to find a space. He probably will see if he can tuck into the left as they go into Spoon. That's what he's going to do. He goes to the outside. That'll give him the preferred position into Spoon if he can do it under braking. Parks looking to get there. He's got his nose inside. King sees him. King's going to let him have it. That position goes. Castro looking to duck inside as well. King is forced to the outside. No, Castro's going to wait. So we have a new second place driver now as Parks moves into second.
Well, Bill, when we jumped to you and I heard 3 wide, I thought the next words out of your mouth were going to be, there's a big crash going into turn 1. A fantastic race going on right now with the Mustangs. But going back up here, this 4-car battle is definitely heating up as we do see Richard Losper has fallen to Brian Cartier and Tom Raji in Asbury Motorsports. So we are definitely seeing these guys fighting around a little bit back here, just being a little more cautious than those Mustang drivers.
Yeah, Losper was running up there in third, now has fallen to fifth, like you said, as Ratche got around him, and so did Cartier. Losper running in fifth position. Craig Hewson running in sixth, and then Jerome Urson back there, Mama Jean Racing, running in seventh spot.
Hey, Bill, can you hear me, Bill?
Yeah, you went away for a little sake break?
Apparently, it was about the equivalent of me just basically getting up and falling out of the broadcast booth. Is what happened there?
Well, it's good to have you back.
My computer decided that it didn't want to watch racing today and crashed on me. But we're back here.
It's been very competitive. What you've missed is we'll do a little recap for the viewers as well as for you. It's Szabo and Saunders out in front for the MX-5s. But what has really been interesting is this battle for now it's third. James King, who started up front, he started on the pole, has been passed one by one. Next to pass him now is Dexter Castro, who's really trying to get in there. Or actually, it's Hackworth. Castro running back there behind Hackworth.
So it looks like James King has, like you said, fallen back. And has he had any problems here, or is it just as he's getting the inside there, looks like he's about to lose another position here, just struggling with grip or speed here, or what's going on to James?
Well, I'm not going to assume, but I'm going to guess that maybe that team, it might have been his partner. He's partnered with Mika Eshaus, and this series does not make you qualify. That does not make the... Whoa, careful, boys! They made contact!
Oh,
he's going to get it straightened out.
Nice job gathering up there, but that position is definitely emphatically lost as he loses yet another one there.
I think James King is benefiting from Mika's qualifying run. This series doesn't make the fast qualifier actually start the race. So I think James is up there thanks to his teammate. And doing a good job hanging in there. Now he's dropped back to fifth, though. That was a close one.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, we're going to have a little replay here for the contact. There you can see. Good job from King. Got that car sideways, but gathered it up. I don't think there's a lot of damage there. Castro gets by him as well.
I don't think there's a lot of damage there, but I mean, that corner is a really tough one to go through side by side there, especially if I'm guessing King's probably struggling a little bit with control there. So to have a car right there on the inside, not surprised that we had a little bit of contact there, but we know James. I mean, from watching him in other races, while we talk about Eshaus being a strong driver, as we know he is, but James is no slouch either. So I think he's going to hold his own until Eshaus can get into that car.
Meanwhile, the MX-5s is kind of the Szabo-Saunders little dance going on up front, huh, James?
Yeah, they're doing their little two-step going on right now at the front of the field, but we do see Tom Rothjay come back up and pull away from that second group. And we also see as well Richard Losper coming up there and kind of regaining that fourth position there in the ST class as well. Again, with Brian Cartier in right behind him. They're getting a little bit more spread out here as we head back through the field. No real big battles going on right now in the ST class.
It's surprising to see Ratche be able to pull away from those drivers behind him. Usually the MX-5s are so draft dependent that it's hard for a driver to pull away, especially on a long track like this where there's a lot of straightaways. He must be really good. I would assume he may be really good through the S's or through the twisty sections where he can break the draft. I'd be surprised, though, he has the pace to run down Szabo up there in front, Szabo and Saunders.
But again, what we were talking about earlier is that those two, they're doing a little bit of competition right now. We definitely have Saunders definitely not really bringing the issue to Szabo up there, just kind of slowly working away. Let's get away from these guys. Let's make sure that we're the only two that have to worry about each other as this race goes on here. But definitely Tom in Asbury Motorsports, I mean, he doesn't want these guys running away quite yet. So if the way that he's kind of been pulling away from these guys, if anyone's going to catch him right now, it will be that 75.
That's $2 in the swear jar if you quote Darrell Waltrip. Just so I know you don't have a lot of GSR experience.
Hey, at least that's the one that we have from DW. That's actually quite all right.
That's right. I like that one too.
If I start singing about a loose wheel later on, then yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll throw a 5 in there.
I agree with you guys, but I don't know. I mean, watching Saunders put his nose in there a couple times, I don't know if he's not going to try to make a move here anytime soon.
Well, he's definitely been there on the back of Szabo, but no real serious passes. And, well, if he's going to make it happen, yeah, as I say that, they're going side by side here down this long front straightaway. So this will be great going down here into turn 1. We'll see who's going to come out. Szabo does not have the preferred line, and Saunders is going to peek ahead going down here into turn 1. New race leader in the ST class will be Andre Saunders.
I think one guy who would support that would be Tom Ratche back there in third position. Like to see those guys battle it out a bit.
And I don't think we're going to see him battle it out, Bill. I think that was a matter of Thomas saying, you know what, I think you're a little bit faster, and maybe you lead, and I'll save some fuel here for a little bit. Although, as I say that, it looks like Szabo's going to be up on Thomas's bumper just as much as he was to him. So maybe they will be battling it out here.
It's Szabo's not the most. He likes to lead. I'd be surprised if he's that strategic. He's a go out and he's a pick him up and put him down type guy. But yeah, it might be though. It might be with 2.5 hours. You just can't afford to spend the first stint breaking the air for the guy behind you there.
Yeah, I mean, and we talk about that a lot, Bill, in this race, the fact that this is a 2.5 hour race, and we see, we see guys making passes, but we talk about it each and every time we get up here in the booth. These guys are racers, and if they have a chance to pass, they're going to take it. They don't care that it's 2.5 hours. They want to race there. And actually, as I'm looking now, speaking of racing, we got Castro and Hackwith going side by side in a place they shouldn't be going side by side, but making it work somehow.
Castro has been working on him for the last lap and a half, and now Hackwith's going to be James King trying to get back in the hunt. James King running in 5th position. And then Trevor, who do you see running in 6th there? Who's driving in 6th? You take a shot at it, buddy.
Thanks, Bill. That would be the number 99 car.
Oh, that's not fair.
But that is Sam Katakaus, Team Bushfink Racing Yellow.
Yes. Catakazinos. Catakazinos. That's what I'm going with. Catakazinos.
We're going to have to get Sam up in the booth here afterwards, and so he can tell us how badly we said his name during the race. So hopefully he can put up a performance that gets him up here for an interview afterwards so he can correct us on the correct pronunciation of his name.
We just need a good nickname that has to do with cat, and then I think that Sam's going to be quite happy with us.
The cat. I think it's the cat there. Bad news for us is he is soloing today, so we have no hope of him actually leaving that car. Sam the cat. That's what I'm going with.
Well, as long as we don't start, go the Hunger Games route and call him Katniss or something like that, because he probably would not appreciate that, I would imagine.
Man, this is a really good battle that these Mustangs are putting on. Usually, James, I know you're new to this series, but usually it's the MX-5s that are in a battle because again they're so draft dependent. But man, Castro, Hackwith, King, and the Cat running 3, 4, 5, 6. Jason Beifrogel looking to get in there as well.
Well, and Bill, this track might lend a little bit more to that kind of pack racing that we have here in the Mustangs as well, with a little bit more power. And we do know that those MX-5s are definitely big on the draft as well, but maybe just that little bit of time that they spend in those slow corners is allowing them to be able to break away just a little bit, where these Mustangs, you get to bring up, if you have a bad corner, well, you still have these long straightaways where you can possibly catch up a little bit more. Just sort of stab at it. Who actually knows?
Yeah. Looks like in your division, looks like Zabel has gone ahead, and I had a hunch he was going to be comfortable a second. Look, he's got back around Sanders again.
Yeah, they swapped the lead not too long ago here, and we'll see exactly how this goes as we have, again, another long straightaway here as we head down the back, head into the Casio triangle here after this last kink, and we'll see if Saunders wants to make another move here, if he's comfortable sitting back there in second, or does he want that lead again?
I'm wondering, do these? I hope these guys don't have the same sort of rule that the Xfinity guys have at plate tracks, where you're not allowed to lock bumpers. Because I swear these guys are just bump drafting all the way down these straight
Saunders
stretches.
Got a little bit loose there, and that's going to allow Zabo to break away from him here, especially if he can get down this long straightaway and get through the S curves really well. We could see him kind of start walking away from Saunders.
Yeah, that's about all it takes is a little bit of an error. You lose that lock of that draft. I mean, obviously he still has it, but he's not locked right on him. And it'll take a couple good corners by Zabo to kind of make a little bit of distance so that he can't pull right up to him. And then we'll see if he kind of falls back towards Ratchi.
Yeah, Ratchi should be pretty fast.
Yeah, and Ratchi has been hanging back there. Really hasn't lost too much more time to these guys up here, but I tell you what, Saunders has been getting through this technical part of the racetrack a little bit better than Zabo, so we'll see if he's able to reach back up there or not. This is definitely a pivotal part of the race early on.
I got a pretty good battle back here in the MX-5s. It's Al Heaton and Jerome Ursum. Heaton for Heat and Bake Racing, and then Ursum for Mama Jean. Doing a good job back there. They're battling for, let's see, what would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th and 8th there. Oh, it's right on the screen. I could have just looked on the screen instead of having to count. I've been doing this for a while. I know how to do these things.
You don't expect to be looking at the screen. You're looking at the action. You don't need to be looking at graphics. You need to be watching this great battle between these two guys. We know that Amjed's back there, and he's got the right driver.
Jeroen! Mama Jean!
Oh, Jeroen! He has killed that car. We've got a replay coming up on that action there. Looks like he just got a little bit loose in that corner and just nailed it into the wall.
Well, it was a good run while it was going.
Does that count as a commentator's curse there, Bill?
It definitely does. Yeah, that's. Come on, you're running 7th and 8th for position, and we catch it. Yeah, I don't think it's going to bring out the yellow though. He's still got the car going straight.
But that car is badly damaged. It is limping around here. Really can't even get above. We're just now getting above 50 miles an hour, and we've had a long straightaway here. So a lot of damage done to that Mama Jean Racing car here in the MX-5 early on.
And we should mention, boys, that this is a buy it, you break it. No fast repairs here. 2.5 hours they have to keep these cars clean. This is big boy racing.
Yep, you're not going to go in there, get yourself a fresh new car. That car is, there's no smoke coming out of her, but he is gingerly driving around as he's got some of the slower MX-5s catching up and passing him. But I think you're right, Bill. I don't think we're going to have a caution. He's going to make it back to pit road by the looks of it, which will be good for these racers. They don't want to see a caution. They want to keep going out there and running laps and racing against each other. So good job by Jeroen to keep everything under control and to limp this guy back.
And honestly, he was soloing it today, and he's from the Netherlands. It's already close to Sunday there. It's Saturday in the real world. Of course, most everyone's watching this on tape delay, so that made no sense at all. But let me just put it this way: it's very late in the day for him, and it would have been a long 2.5 hours. So maybe that's a good way for him to call it a day.
Yeah, and Jeroen has now just made it back into the pit lane, so he is safely removed from the track, so no harm, no foul, except for the front end of that car.
Hey, how about a shout out to Andre Saunders, who we thought might fall off the pace? Look at that. Right back in there.
He's definitely caught back up. He's very good at the technical part of the track. I think even a little bit better than Szabo here through a lot of this track. So even though that we see Szabo still leading the majority of this race so far, I think that Saunders is making it is just a little bit quicker where it counts right now. So he gets these good runs off these turns, especially on this one and also out of the Casio Triangle. It's a great place to make a move, and we've been seeing him do that a couple times so far.
And Trevor, what they're really doing, and these two drivers are just racing to give it to their partners. Szabo is going to turn it over to Sonny Katchen, who's really fast, and Saunders is going to turn it over to Robert Hartley, who's also pretty quick. So it's an interesting. I love team racing. I love driver swaps.
Yeah, and I think Hartley, if I remember correctly, had some issues in the Tidal Influence race earlier today, so I think he's going to be looking for some redemption because he was a fast car and had an incident on the first turn, I think, and ended up finishing way down in the pack, so I know he's going to be going out there and trying to prove that he's got the speed that he knew he had this afternoon. And
actually, the driver he had troubles with was with Szabo, so it's nice that the driver swap kept those guys separated, swapped out as Szabo's going to do the opening leg, and then by the time Hartley gets in there, Szabo should be getting ready for bed. Szabo, another European driver. This is such late that it's these European drivers, they come and do their early stint. Szabo's from Hungary, and they come and do that first stint, and then they call it a day.
They're not going to sit back on the pit box and grab a cup of coffee and watch the rest of the race?
I think they try. They have good intentions.
You know what, Bill? What's impressed me most about Szabo and Saunders here is the fact that they are racing pretty hard here, and they've had a couple swaps back and forth, but they are actually still outpacing Rache, and behind them there, he is not gaining. He's actually lost about a second over the last couple laps that I've noticed.
Yeah, and that's impressive because Rache is a legitimate fast driver. Not much missing in the Mustang class. It's pretty much separated out there.
Yeah, I'm just kind of going back through the field here myself, Bill, and looks like everybody's kind of calmed down. We had that big group between King and Sam and Hackworth and Castro kind of biting at each other's heels a little while ago here, but looks like they've spaced themselves out about half second to a second between each of the cars, and just kind of going through their paces right now.
Just got a comment from Jeroen Ursum, who we saw crash the Mama Jean racing machine. He just told me that he has 4 minutes of repairs to get the car fixed up, but the mechanics are refusing to do it. So you can't get he says I should have paid him more, I guess. So I think he's done because the mechanics will not fix his car.
They just go over there. It's like, you know what? That looks like a lot of work.
That's too much work.
So it's pretty late in the day. I mean, maybe he has European mechanics over there, and they're like, we could just go to bed. Yeah.
So there you have it. Some of the intricacies of iRacing.
Reminds me of the scene in Talladega Nights where they're off enjoying a chicken sandwich.
That's it.
Well, I tell you, for as paced out as the Mustangs are, the MX-5s are even more paced out other than our number 1 and number 2 drivers. Everybody else is really, really spaced out here and just kind of enjoying the beautiful Japan sunset that's never going to quite set, but they want it to, and just enjoying this track.
Guess it's the land of the setting sun today, as it's just going to hang up there the same for the next 2.5 hours.
Oh, soon, iRacing, soon you shall have our day night transitions. And I can't wait to start broadcasting during that, because that is going to make for some beautiful scenery with these wonderful, wonderful camera angles that we have provided by Mr. Dougie Beard. And I'm Jed, making sure that we get some good actions. I know I was telling you guys, I was watching the Title Influence race earlier today, and I know Joe was back in the booth there. And man, some of those camera angles that he had were just gorgeous.
Why don't we take a second to spotlight, since things are slowing down, spotlight some of the other drivers that we haven't shown much. I'm going to take the Mustangs here first. Let's go to 7th position, Jason Beifogel in the number 65 machine, running for Wild Horse Racing, running in 7th position all by himself. You see him there. We drop back another about 4 seconds. We're going to go back to George Johnson for Slow Johnson Racing. George usually runs by himself. Let me see if he's doing that again today. Does he have a partner? Nope. George soloing it today. About another 2.5 seconds back. Now, is Chad Dalton, is that...
Oh, I see.
Trevor, is that your buddy? Oh.
Trying to get a name on there. Looks like it's Dexter Castro, possibly coming out of the Degner Curve.
Yeah, sure enough, in Degner.
All right, we got a replay coming up to see what happened to Dexter there.
He was running up behind an MX-5. He was running up behind Michael Key, and I think he just lost his rhythm. That's Key in the blue MX-5 there.
Yeah, I mean, and we talked about that, Bill. We mentioned that it's not going to be necessarily trouble getting past them so much as it's going to be the fact that you throw them off a little bit off your pace, you miss your apex, and actually we've got a bunch of we got the Mustangs having some issues with the MX-5 there.
Yeah, Hackworth, I think, may have got a little help. Maybe a little help from Dexter. I'm not sure. Hackworth looked like he didn't get on the gas very quick. I don't want to put the blame on Castro on this one, but you make the call, viewers. That's Hackworth right behind that blue MX-5, and there's Castro back behind him there. Trevor, we can go on board with Dexter. Maybe this will show us a little more.
Yeah, maybe this will show us a little bit if they got too close as he goes into the corner here. Yeah, that's it's hard to say, but either way, it looks like he did manage to, if he hit the wall, it looks like it was pretty minor contact there, so I don't think there's going to be much damage to that car, but a scary moment when you're sitting there going in, you're in your rhythm, everything's great, and all of a sudden you're facing in towards the wall and you have to make some panic moves.
And just real quick, what my favorite part about that whole situation was we got a good lap of a lot of drama there, but I was actually following Richard Losper, which is technically on the other side of the track, but he was heading over the bridge because this track is a figure eight. We do loop over each other here, and so I was watching him go over the top part, and then I saw a Mustang going off underneath the bridge, and so that's quite fascinating that you're watching something technically on the other side of the racetrack, and you see something down below.
I keep calling for him to tear down the overpass, turn it into an intersection, but that falls on deaf ears. Hey, I'm going to finish up my Mustang rundown here. We're going to go to 9th position for Chad Dalton. Isn't that a friend of yours? Is that your friend?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd like to cover 9th position. That's Mr. Chad Dalton in the number 77 car there. He is my broadcast partner over on the iRacing Today radio show that we do weekly, a weekly podcast about all things iRacing, and he is racing for our our team. See, I got a dog in the fight too. The iRacing Today Motorsports team. He is running solo here, but nice job by Chad running ninth. I know he didn't have much of a chance to get a lot of practice in. And one final note before we let Chad go: he has actually just moved houses recently and does not even have real internet. So he's actually using a tie-in from his phone in order to actually get out on the track. That's how dedicated Mr. Chad is to getting these races in.
Jeez. Well, that's maybe something the other drivers should know if they get too close to him there. if there's going to be a net lag, it's certainly going to happen to him. Drop back one position to Russell Ruddick running in 10th. Let's see who his partner is today, running for Flying Tortoise Motorsports. Is he running? He's got Travis Davis going to step in the car for him a little later on. Then we go back one more spot. Final car there for the MX5 or for the Mustangs, and that's Scott Brooks running for that's the Mama Jean Racing Machine. They're running back in 11th, soloing today. So that's pretty much everybody in those Mustangs.
And I'll go through our ST class here for a little bit. Again, we have Tom Rothjay here still sitting in third position. Has been falling a little bit back here between away from your top two, but still a very solid day early on here. Richard Losper, who we did see in third early on, I believe he actually started on the outside and had that kind of jump the start there, gave it back going into turn one and kind of fought his way back up into fourth position. Well, he's currently running fourth in class right now for Asbury Motorsports, number 426. Then Brian Cartier in the Phoenix Racing, he is sitting back there in the fifth position. Again, was kind of involved in that battle that kind of broke up there a little bit earlier. But now we'll go back to Chris Hugson in the 49 Motorsports C, running back there, seventh in class. Todd in the Extreme Motorsports 1. I won't butcher your name there. Oh, I'm getting mixed up here. This is my first time covering multi-class racing.
Yeah,
and, it's quite fun.
Learn as you go,
little
baby.
Things, little things you got to learn as you go. So hopefully they don't come after me here afterwards. But we do see Al Heaton in the Heat and Bake Racing back there, currently the last car on the lead lap. And then you also have, let's see, we got a ways back before we get back to the number 32 Extreme of Michael Key. And then, of course, we saw Mama Jean have her problems early on with driver Jerron Urson.
Hey, and Jeroen, I'm looking right now. Jeroen's got that car back out there.
I was actually going to say, Bill, he's got the car back out there, but I looking at it, I'm guessing he said, you know what? You're not going to repair it? I'm just going to drive away anyway.
Clearly the mechanics and him could not see eye to eye as that thing looks like it's been sat on by King Kong. My goodness. Somebody spent a lot of time on the paint job on that, and it's just awful.
Well, Bill, we are over here in Japan, so I feel like Godzilla is a more...
Godzilla probably, that's
Godzilla
right.
is a better reference here. Where did King Kong come from? We're going real bit deep here into pop culture.
That's that island of the Skull Island, I think. I don't know. You know, we're in trouble. This is a 2.5-hour race.
We're already on Godzilla 30 minutes in. Oh! Let's see, who is that just went off?
Looks like Zabo just went off
goodness.
there. And and that's something that we talked about. I mean, we joke about it up here in the booth, but as these guys get spread out, as we watch this replay, it doesn't take much to kind of get off your rhythm because you're not racing other people. Although at least Zabo had a partner out there with Saunders, but one moment of losing your concentration and you go off there.
Yeah, just got a little bit of that sand. We'll see coming around here, and that's all that it takes. A great job saving it, because when you get that right rear off, it wants to send it around, and we do not have a whole lot of runoff room here at the Suzuka circuit. So this is a great save by him, but we have a big lead over 3 seconds back.
Yeah.
Over 3 seconds back now. So this is exactly what Andre Saunders wanted to see, a little bit of chance to kind of stretch out and kind of focus on his race.
With these MX-5s, you really don't know who has the pace and who doesn't, because you can't pull away from the other. But now Zabo's definitely out of the draft. We'll see if he if Saunders can do anything. My experience is that I wouldn't be surprised if Zabel starts to run him down.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking after the race, I think Saunders might send a thank you note to Szabo there for keeping that car under control, because that could have taken out both of our leaders. He did a great job, despite losing control of the car, of keeping it under just enough control to make sure they didn't nail him, because that could have been disastrous for both position 1 and 2 in the MX.
Asbury Motorsports, Tom Ratche running back there in third, has a nice partner of Travis Swenke. Both those guys were in a battle earlier in the MX-5s, early today in the MX-5 World Tour.
All right, looks like up in the back in the Mustangs here we have James King. Looks like he has a little bit of company here in Sam Catt, as we're now going to call him. Apparently, looks like he's getting a little bit closer to him here. Not close enough to make a move yet, but a little bit closer than we've seen some of the other guys before. And then we got Al Heaton, of course, back there in the MX-5, who should be dropping off of that. The battle between the two of them.
Take a shot at it again. I think I got a Catacazinos. Catacazinos sounds like a. Let you go get a good falafel.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to. I sure hope if any friends or family or of out there of Sam, we'd like to let's have him come in and talk to us after the race. I'd like to get. Oh, look at missed the apex. James King's missed the apex horribly there, and Cat's going to run him down. Cat's going to have a good exit. Let's see if he gets something done. They come into the hairpin. Not going to get it done, but he's back there.
No, it looks like he managed to hold the concentration, and that's that's a key factor too. Is you mess up one corner, then you're going into a corner, the next one with your competitor right close behind. It's easy to make a mistake there as well to compound the problem, but it looks like he didn't. And looks like he's able to hold on to that position, but I don't think it's going to be too much longer before Sam finds a way around James.
Let's drop back to Liam Hackworth here, as he's coming up behind Al Heaton. Heaton's an experienced driver in that MX-5s, knows how to get out of the way. Oh, sorry, they already got around Heaton.
See, you were already predicting how easily he was going to make it for him to get by, and he'd already done it.
Hackworth and Beifel could get around him. I'll be honest with you, sometimes we can hit the replay button here and we forget to unreplay it, and I'm a few seconds behind.
Oh, Bill, I believe that we are getting a pronunciation. Catacazinos. Catacazinos is, according to Craig Williams, is how we say that, but we've known Catacazinos for a long time, and we affectionately call him the Cat.
That's right.
As we've gone over here.
All of his friends call him that, yeah.
Yeah, all of his real close friends. If you knew him well, Craig Williams, you would call him the Cat also. Thank you, Craig, for that, and we'll work on that. But also going back up to your to our ST class here, who already gained a second has been Szabo on Saunders. So I think that this battle is going to be going on back here for the lead here before too long.
Yeah, he is running him down, isn't he?
You know what, Bill? It's only just over a half hour into this race, and we already have a correct pronunciation. I still remember that time back when it took us the entire race and then into the interviews before we could say Eshouse's name correctly. So we're ahead of the game here this time, Bill.
Yeah, we weren't even close on that one. That was a... Well, that's one of the beauties of iRacing, is they come from all over. We have from the Netherlands and all of Europe, Australia. Those are easy to pronounce. Japan. A lot of drivers from Japan.
And, and that's one of the fascinating things when it comes to simulation racing in this and how far we've come. I mean, I remember growing up with the old simulation games, IndyCar racing and the NASCAR racing, and how hard it was to get things going. And here we are living in an age when people can just click on their computer wherever they are in the world, and you're racing, and everything is just as if you were sitting in the same room.
Unbelievable.
Or as Chad likes to say it, you don't even have real internet. You just have pretend internet, and you're still out there racing.
I think that's probably better advertisement for Sprint than any of the NASCAR covers they've done over there. Because if you could use your Sprint cell phone to do iRacing, sign me up. That says a lot about your service.
Since we have a long time here, it's a 2.5 hour. I'll tell the story of Jan Koemans, who's an MX-5 expert and 3-time champion in the MX-5 World Tour. He was in the hunt for the championship. At the final race, he was going on vacation to a remote island somewhere, and he packed up his wheel and his pedals and his laptop and found some internet somewhere and almost brought the championship home.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
Speaking of, not dedication, but a little bit of racing here. If we concentrate back on 8th and 9th position, George Johnson and Chad Dalton, as we were just talking about Chad, looks like Chad has reeled him in and is looking to maybe make a pass here sometime pretty soon, because I know he was a bit farther back than this, but looks like he's gained a fair bit on him here.
George running in 8th position right now. Chad running in 9th.
Good to see George having a good run here. As I missed last race up in the booth here, but the race before that, unfortunately, Slow Johnson became Stop Johnson for a while. So good to see him out there having a good race.
Hey, Trevor, real quick, knock knock.
Who's there?
Thomas Szabo, because he is back up there. Saunders, that lead, that 3-second lead, well, that's gone. Saunders is, Szabo's back, so let's go ahead and continue that lead there in our ST class, and very, very impressive there for the Asbury Motorsports 74. Took him, 3 laps to gain that 3 seconds back. Very, very impressive here by Thomas Szabo.
And Andre's probably looking in his rearview mirror saying, weren't you just spinning off the track a couple laps ago? Where'd you come from?
Saunders wasn't the only person that found that joke to be very, very bad, because now he's got the lead that he's got to go back to defending, as he's been doing here. Again, we have about 45 minutes into the race so far, so this is this battle will not go away, and it's been quite entertaining so far to watch these two go after it.
Should be getting close to pit stop time here. I would think probably in the 1 hour, maybe the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was thinking about some math on that earlier, because the MX-5s in the title race are constricted to 35% fuel, I believe, and they stopped about halfway through their race, about 9 laps in. As we have a race for the lead, looks like Szabo's going to make that pass on Saunders and makes it nice and clean. The two of them work together to make sure everybody gets through there, and we have a new leader.
Yeah, that did not take long at all, as we see Szabo come from 3 seconds back to regain the lead here over Andre Saunders, and we'll see if he was just kind of playing around with Saunders there, or if Andre's going to use that.
I think
I'm here to crash.
Jeroen Ursum was coming into the pits. He just got lapped. I think he just banged it off the outside pit lane. Might be the end of the road for that car. It's running out of corners to bang up.
Well, there's still... Oh, yeah. He said, you know what? The left-hand side does not look even with the right, so I'm going to fix that, and now it does. So so that's great. Maybe he thought if he put some more damage on the car, he'd go in and the mechanics would actually repair it now.
He is taking tires off.
Well, all he needs is tires, a new hood, some new fenders. Everything will be great.
There's a great shot of that car. Oh, my goodness.
So we shall see if he's convinced the mechanics to fix that car now.
Got a comment from Jeroen again. He's trying to bang his car back into line. Is that? He might be.
The toe's out. Let me fix that for you.
If the mechanics won't do it, I'll let the walls do it. That's funny.
Man, I tell you, Saunders has not let Szabo go at all. I mean, we talk about these cars being slightly draft locked, but I mean, this is more than that. This is just straight up skill by these two drivers.
And James, all Saunders wants to do, I think he knows he's not fast. He can pull away from Szabo. All he wants to do is hang in there and turn it over to his partner and see what his partner can do when the pit cycle comes.
Yeah, and that's something that we definitely see, and it's pretty typical that you're going to see the faster driver in towards the end of the race. So if you're able to hold on there and give your driver a good chance for the lead, as we're seeing another battle going on here, coming down here into the kink right before. Yep, and we're going to see Szabo give that position here to Andre Saunders. But if you're able to stick with them, don't put any more effort on your other driver. I mean, it takes two of y'all to get to the finish line. So if you're able to put your teammate into a better position towards the end of the race, well, I mean, that benefits both of you guys.
It'll be interesting to see if these guys actually come into the pits. Man, that is a nice camera angle. You can't even tell there's two cars there. They're so close. But as they come in, if they pit on the same lap, are they going to be racing each other down pit road and bumper to tail and trying to bump into each other, make the other guys speed, or are we going to see these guys work together to make sure they make it safely into the pit road?
I think these two are way past working together at this point. So, we've definitely seen an amazing battle between these two here early on, and really not giving each other just enough room is I think the correct way. It's been very, very cordial, very respectful, but still been a fierce battle. We're gonna go back and check out Losper here. Yep, and Richard Losper is in the pits. Should we be expecting any driver changes here this early on? Yep, and we're going to see James Stevenson jump in that number 426 Asbury Motorsports entry. So pit stops are coming in here, and we have our first driver change.
So I was going to say, that makes about sense where we kind of figured the pits would start going here. So with an hour and 42 minutes left, obviously this is more than a one pit stop race. So we have our first taker.
Now, for drivers unfamiliar with James Stevenson, he's an Australian driver, and he is fast. As we have another pass for lead, look like Szabo's going to take that back. What I think's going on here, boys, is I think Szabo and Saunders are having fun. Sometimes it's hard to balance what your real job is, and that's simply to bring the car into your partner. Sometimes it's hard not to just have fun racing out there, and I think these guys are having a good time right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. It's, what, we're here to have fun. We're not here necessarily to, maybe they're not as concerned with their partners. Maybe they're saying, I don't want to get out of the car. I'm having a good time here. Because, this is some amazing racing these guys are putting on.
Yeah, look for probably, I think Saunders is going to try and set up Szabo again, going down to turn one. Oh, very defensive line there by Szabo.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, my gosh. Look at this battle coming down the front straight.
You want the inside? Go ahead. He's still going to try to get it in there.
He left him a car width.
Well, it won't be long here until these guys get run up here. Hans Renko's going to be behind them pretty soon. This is...
Yeah, I was going to say, Bill, it's as we watch these two... Oh, man, as these guys are just using every inch of the track here, but it's amazing to watch these two guys racing here, and then consider now there's a faster car coming up on them, and I don't know. With the amount of room these guys are giving each other, I don't know how much room they're going to give Honzarenko.
Yeah. I wonder if Hartley and Ketchen are watching this right now. They're going to be saying, boys, come on. Give me... Last thing we want is to give me a car with us. Oh, he's lost it. Oh, no. Szabo's put it in the wall.
Nope, that is Saunders that now has lost the entire front end of his car.
Oh, it's Saunders. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, that is so disappointing. Those guys were having such an entertaining race, and he could not have lost it in a worse place.
Yeah, and that car definitely very torn up there. Again, it was another thing that we saw Szabo do earlier. Just get that little bit of that a tire off, and in these cars here, it upsets them greatly. And yeah, we see. I mean that car of Andre Saunders there looks like a bootleg SK modified that we're going to see here in a little bit later on tonight.
You know, and I was actually thinking, because like I said, watching the race earlier this afternoon, I mean, there was a lot of that self-spin. There was a lot of those guys just kind of losing it with the lack of grip on the track there. And these guys had held together, but with the cooler track temperatures. But eventually those tires are going to wear out. Your concentration is going to wear out. And this track will bite you quickly and send you off into that wall.
Well, as I'm not sure if Thomas Szabo wasn't using a little Hungarian psychology there, trying to just put the pressure on Saunders. And you want to race? I'll race with you. Let's see who can keep it out of the wall. And I think now Szabo's out there having a nice Saturday night drive.
Yeah, and Saunders now has made it back to pit road, so no caution again, other than the fact that because we don't model debris, because there's a hood out there somewheres, but we don't model that, so we don't have to worry about it. So no caution coming in, and we have we have Dexter Castro is also coming into the pit lane.
Castro pitting from, I think it was probably in third position, dropped back to fourth right now, third position in the Mustangs.
All right, so they're putting tires on Saunders' car. I think they should put a hood on first, but you got to start somewheres. And looks like we have Chad Dalton has now hit pit road. We have Robert Hartley is also in 49 Motorsports A.
Yeah, Hartley.
Oh, right. Sorry, that's right. Hartley is into the car. My apologies. See, we talked about it at the beginning. We know the team names, and then all of a sudden they put a different driver in the car, and we get confused. Or maybe it's just me.
Hartley saying, "What have you given me here? What the car looked so good a few laps ago."
I was going to say it almost sounds like you get the line of you had one job. Give me you had one more lap to do to get me a car that I could drive away,
So
and
close.
Oh no. And we talked about it earlier. You got to feel for Hartley. I mean, we know he wanted to go out there and put some great laps down after disappointment earlier this afternoon, and unfortunately, he's not even going to get the chance to do that. So that's a heartbreaker for Hartley.
Oh,
let's go
Szabo's
up to
Szabo's
Hans
off.
Zarenko. It was one of the rare eclipses where the moon and the sun align here. Actually, I guess it'd be moon and earth. I don't know what aligns. Anyway, Hans Zarenko, you had the leaders in your two classes get together. And Szabo got a little scared there from that big machine going by. And now Hans Zarenko goes in. As I can hear Thomas say, "Man, couldn't you just wait? It was only two corners."
Well, I mean, Szabo looked over. He says he saw tarmac, so he just figured that was track and that was fair game.
He really didn't lose that much time on that lap either, even with that little bit of off wreck there. Still running pretty competitive what he was running the lap before.
So in all that, just 1 minute, so that Hans Zarenko is in the pits, and James King has also brought it into pit lane.
Now, what's interesting is Hans Zarenko is not getting out of the machine.
And we've got Hackwith and Johnson also into pit lane here as well. So we're going to keep an eye out here, see see if any of the drivers are hopping out and having the replacement drivers hop into
we
the
go.
cars.
Kevin Ford took over for Hans Orenko. Now, usually Hans Orenko turns that over to Jeff Jacobs, who is your point leader overall in the Mustang class. But Jacobs isn't here today, so Kevin Ford gets the pleasure of having Hans Orenko as his partner.
And looks like S-House is in the car as well for Team Bushfink Racing Blue, just pulling away now. So he is heading back out on track after a successful pit stop. And we have Patrick Bieri is also changed into the car for Extreme Motorsports 2, so he is pulling out of the pit lane. And George Johnson is also pulling out, still in the car, as we mentioned, running a solo ride this afternoon.
Getting some great reports from Robert Brown, our spotter, that Bieri is in.
All right, so that leaves, if my timing and scoring is correct, we have Craig Parks, Sam, and I've already forgotten how to say his name, and Jason Buckfogle are still out on the track and have not made their pit stops yet.
Now remember, this series has yellow flags. There are live marshals, so this all comes into play here. You have to keep in mind what drivers are in, what drivers have clean cars.
Yeah, and Craig Parks has now come into the pit lane for his service, so that leaves 2 Mustangs out there who have not taken it down pit road yet.
I believe Parks is going to get credited with a laps led, though, for Team Bushfink Red.
And Sam has now brought the car number 99 down pit road and slowing it down to pit road speed, heading down for the attention of his crew. And the 65 is also in, so I believe that closes the cycle on the Mustangs.
Usually the Miatos can go maybe a little bit farther. I think Zabo has not come in yet, right? Is it Zabo? Uh-oh. Your leader in the Mustangs is coming back in, we're hearing. And that would be Chris Ford. We're hearing that maybe Ford, that's the car 6. That's the Hans Orenko Ford team. That's the Extreme Motorsports. He's coasting in. He might be out of fuel. Can he get to his pit box and stop correctly?
He does, but yeah, the engine is off, and they had just made that driver swap, so what has happened here?
Maybe they forgot to fill it, maybe?
Maybe they got Jerome's pit crew over there, and they decided they just didn't want to fuel the car.
I think the pit crews have unionized. They're on strike.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there some sort of strike going on over in Japan that we're not aware of?
Okay, I'm watching the 6 car. It went up. He took tires on both sides, and now he's rolling.
He's under power, and he's rolling out. So maybe it was just a miscue in the pits, and they nailed it, and they just did not get fuel into that car for some reason. So that is a horrible mistake for that number 6 car after being so dominant earlier.
Well, that certainly doesn't make it easy for you. I'm looking to see where they're going to slot in. Currently showing them in 10th, but I don't think that's quite going to be right here. Maybe 2 pit stops that could throw you back some.
Well, putting him in 10th position would put him as the second last car in the Mustangs, so that would probably make a lot of sense. And it looks like we have the last place in the Mustangs is heading down pit road, or heading out of pit road right now, actually, and they have just completed a driver change, and Brett Trossin is in the Mama Jean Racing in Mama Jean Racing Gin car. See, I should have got that name right, because I should have got my Canadian French on there and pronounced it with Trossin, because that's that's a more natural pronunciation. But I'll get there. it looks like up on the screen we've got Patrick Bieri there in the Mustang with some company.
Who is the company?
I am looking at that right now.
Oh, well, when you
I
find
was
out, let me-
stalling, Bill. Thanks for calling me out.
No, I know who it is. I just didn't want to say.
Help me out, Bill. Come on, I know you were paying attention.
I believe it is Catacouzinos.
Catacouzinos.
Catacouzinos. Got it.
I wasn't trying to make you. I wasn't making you look, Trevor. I just knew who it was. I wanted you to say it.
Well, I was still trying to pay attention to who it was at the beginning, so I thought it was just some friendly broadcasting going up here saying, hey, who is that guy? But Catacouzinos is now sitting there in 5th position and looks like he's going to be challenging Bieri up there for that 4th place. Looking down pit road, we have the 49 car, and that is Hartley is still sitting there in pit road, unfortunately. So Hartley has not, unfortunately, been able to pull out yet. He's sitting there patiently waiting for the crew to finish service on that car and maybe get a hood back on there so you get at least a little bit of aerodynamics and protect that engine. But again, that is I feel so bad for Robert here tonight. I just looked over to Jerome and he looked like he was attempting to enter the garages, which are not actually do not actually open. It appeared he was trying to park it and managed to fail, or maybe the tow was still out and he thought the garage door would help. But Jerome just came careening down pit road, trying to do anything he can to kill that car once and for all.
Okay, let's go ahead and run down maybe the Mustangs where we are now after our leader. We'll see how things played out. Craig Parks is out there for Team Bushfink Red, quietly having a nice race. 2nd place, Dexter Castro soloing it for 49 Motorsports in the 049 machine. Mika Eschhaus out there now racing for Team Bushfink Racing Blue. And that's the partner of James King, who we saw sitting on the pole earlier. 4th position, that's Patrick Bieri. He's racing for Extreme Motors. Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have that wrong there? No.
Yep, you're right.
Bieri for Extreme Motorsports 2. There we go. And that was Liam Hackworth's partner, so he's taken over for him. And rounding out the top 5, that puts you back. Oh, look who it is. It's Sam Catacouzinos soloing it today for Team Bushfink Yellow. What we want to find out is, where is our leader from? Is he way down there? My goodness. Still on the lead lap, a minute back, is Extreme Motorsports 1. That's Chris Ford in there after having to make that extra pit stop. That's the Hansarenko machine. So they got their work cut out for him. Running in 10th.
Now, Bill, I have to because of what just happened, but that's Kevin Ford, not Chris Ford. And
Zabo's in.
Okay, we have Zabo in the pits, so I will continue my ribbing of Bill later.
Chris Ford, I believe, is a NBA basketball player from a few years back. I think I got to there. Sorry about that.
I'm going to have to fire my chopper flyer here because every time they go into the pits, he ends up on the wrong side of pit road, and I can't see what's going on down there.
And we're going to see Tom Rothjay also come into the pits as well this time by.
All right, Sonny Kenshin is in that car. Looks like they are taking tires. No surprise in a race as long as this. Despite the fact that the temperatures are lower, you're going to want fresh rubber on that car. So Sonny Kenshin is sitting in the car now.
Looking for Phoenix Racing, who is running in 3rd right now, just going through the Casio Triangle. And it's possible that he may come around and actually, if he decides not to pit, we may get a new leader here.
And
Brian
Travis.
Cartier.
And we do have Travis Schwinke, who will be coming in in the Asbury Motorsports number 75 this time by. So we have 2 driver swaps here, and Sonny Kinchin is off.
So we enjoyed that battle up in at the beginning here, but we know that Schwenke and Kanchin are 2 really, really great drivers, and I'm looking forward to seeing if those guys hook up here on the track and give us some more entertainment for our viewers here on the Global Sim Racing channel.
And Schwenke is off, so that should be your top 2 here in the ST class, just now exiting pit road. So he's got a good 15 seconds back of your leader. Let's see, and then going back up, yeah, Sonny Kinchin is your leader. Let's see if I catch another MX-5 here. Oh, yeah, and then we have James Stevenson coming out. You will be running in second. And then we have Travis Schwenke will be third in your ST class. Heading back, let's see if I can find who is next out here. Should be the number 426 Asbury Motorsports car. Let's see if I can find them out here.
I could be wrong, but right now is not the leader, even though I think he has a pit stop. Is it not Brian Cartier running in the number 63 machine? Yeah, there's our leader. Yeah, he has a pit stop to make.
So that's where I was getting mixed up in.
And I was watching Sonny Kinchin as he came out here. He didn't have much time to get into a groove as the 2 of the 4th and 5th place Mustangs came up on him, and Kinchin actually went out into the grass as they approached him because they were racing each other and trying to get by. And so Sonny's all like, all right, now I'm going to get into a groove, and oh dear, what's happening? And he's off into the grass already. But no harm, no foul, and he's back out there and on track without a problem. All right, looking here on the track here, we've got Dexter Castro is sitting in second position, and behind him we've got Mika Eshouse is up behind him by not too large of a margin here. Looks about a second between the 2 of them here, so maybe we're going to see Eshouse challenge Castro before long. We know Eshouse is really, really strong here, and he had a real strong showing in the MX-5 earlier this afternoon, so let's see what he can do with the Mustang.
Yeah, S-House has been running him down for several laps. The hound has been after the hare for about since the pit stop. And I don't think it's going to be too long till the chef's cooking up the Hoffenpfeffer.
What's he cooking up, Bill?
Hassenpfeffer. Hassen, that's a little rabbit stew.
And see, we have Cartier, who will relinquish the lead, comes in, which should cycle your lead back out to Sonny Ketchum in the Asbury Motorsports number 74. Going back all the way to James Stevenson. A good 10 seconds back, if I were to say, in second place. And then all the way back to Travis Schwenke to round out your podium spot currently in the MX-5 after pit stops. We see Cartier coming out of pit road here on screen to rejoin. Should slot him into the 4th position.
Getting a report from our spotter, Robert Brown, that Cartier took 4 tires.
And also looking around the track, Robert Hartley has finally got that hood installed, and he is back out on track in 19th position. Overall, 8th in class, second last in class, unfortunately, to Jerome. I'm going to beat this car in submission, Ursum. So that is a heartbreaker for Hartley, but he is out there on track and making some laps.
Got a couple good battles going on in the Mustang. We're about to go to break, but we'll stay with us a little bit longer. We have the battle up for second position with Castro and Eshouse. Eshouse has run him down, but hasn't been able to pass him yet. And then there's another great battle behind them between Vieri in the Extreme Motorsports 2 machine and Sam Catacousinos in that Bushfink yellow. And if you go back again, we have two more. This Mustangs are really putting on a good show here. We go back, we have Bifogle running in 6th in a battle with Chad Dalton.
Yeah, Chad's made his way up to 7th position here. He was run a little bit farther back in the pack before, so he's made up some grounds for that pit stop cycle, and looks like he has his eyes on 6th position, and looks like he's going to get it before too long. He is all over. Oh, and looks like Castro and Essos has gotten a lot closer now. Oh, Essos is there for sure. I don't think it'll be too much longer before he makes his way around Castro. Let's see how he can get it done.
Our director promised us we could go to break as soon as S-House makes this pass, so I know you guys are all hoping that it happens, and so is my bladder. Come on.
Oh, now see now if Essos knows that, he's going to hang back a little bit because as revenge for us not getting his name right at the beginning of the season here, Bill. So hopefully he's not aware of your predicament and is going to make this pass here pretty soon. But I don't think it can't be too much longer. He has caught him by a bunch over the last few laps. Looks like he's looking. Castro closed the door. He was actually looking on the outside there, John. Maybe make him think a little bit too much, but he was going to make a move on the outside of the corner. But no go so far.
Peeking out.
All right, heading down into turn 1. Oh, gets a little too close, has to back off a little bit, and looks like they both have a good corner. I mean, and Essos gets really loose on the exit of that corner. That's going to cost him a little bit of time, but he's right back in it. Doesn't let that shake him, and he's going to keep going and try to make a move here. Looking on the inside of the corner, Castro closes the door, says, "Not yet, buddy. I'm not going to let you through here." But Essos is being relentless in trying to make this pass.
And they have a chance. They're only just over 5 seconds back of Craig Parks.
Oh, both of them get a little bit loose. S-House has a little bit of a look on the inside here, and looks like he's going to make the pass stick. Hopefully he can hit the apex on the corner here on the hairpin and makes it stick. Looks like the position is his for the keeping.
Well, there you go.
All right,
And
looks
now
like things have settled down here. I wanted to see if Castro had another look at him here, but looks like Essos is going to make a little bit of distance here. And we've talked about it, and Essos is very, very strong. He's only got 5 seconds back from the leader, and be interesting to see if he can chase down Craig Parks now that he's gotten past Castro. But with all that being said, Bill and James and Hamjed back in the studio here, why don't we throw it to a quick break so that we can get back to the action here now that they spread out a little bit after the pit stop. So we will be back in a few moments. Don't you dare change that dial. And we'll be back with racing from Suzuka with the Continental Endurance Sports Cars Series. Welcome back to Suzuka, ladies and gentlemen, in the wonderful, wonderful country of Japan, here where we are watching the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series racing with the Mustangs and the MX-5s. Welcome back from the break, and we still have, nothing much has changed. You haven't missed anything. No positions, I believe, have changed since we've been on break, although a couple cars have been making some moves here. But welcome back, and I've been asked, ladies and gentlemen, to explain to you that a dial is an ancient device that we used to use to change the channel on televisions. As I told you not to touch it, most of you are probably confused, saying, touch it, I don't even know what it is. But that is the older demographic you have up here in the booth with me and Bill. Not so much with James, but Bill, what have you been watching here when we've been on break?
Might as well have been a sundial there. We have a battle on screen there as you're looking at Bifogel. Now, we do have some interest. I'll be honest with you, usually the MX-5s are the guys that put on the show. But the Mustangs are really doing it right now. So we're looking at a battle. I can talk about a few things here. There's Bifogel is in that battle with Chad Dalton, and that's been going on for a while. That's a battle for 6th position, and they've been working on that. Dalton's still back there stalking him. Okay, so that's a battle for 6. Now I'm going to take you up 2 spots. We're going to go up to Patrick Bieri in 4th. We have this battle here where Sam Catacasinos has been following him. I know I didn't get that right, but it's close enough for government work. In 4th position there, that battle going on. Now, we move up to 3rd position. That's Dexter Castro, who's running by himself because he's been left behind from Mika Eschhaus. What's up with Mika Eschhaus? Well, he is slowly but surely running down your leader, Craig Parks, out there in front for Team Bushfink Racing Red. Now, Parks, if we back up one actual car, Parks just got around Brett Trozine in the Mama Jean racing machine, running in 7th place there for the Mustangs. And we'll go ahead, might as well run down all the Mustangs since we're doing it. So let's go to 10th position. That's another guy to keep an eye on. That's Kevin Ford. Remember, he had that double pit stop with Hans Zarenko. So if Ford can come in, give it back to Hans Zarenko, those guys still have a chance. A yellow flag can change all this, anything around. We move up to 9th position. Travis Davis running all by himself there for Flying Tortoise Motorsports. Slow Johnson Racing running in 8th position right now. And then I think that might be everybody. Then we go back to Chad Dalton there in that battle. So that run down all of your Mustangs. Trevor?
Yeah, and to remind everybody, when we went to break, the the gap to the leader was 5 seconds and is now down to 3 seconds. So Eschhaus is coming. He's not going to be too much longer before he has.
Awesome Pepper.
He is on the tail of Craig Parks there. Now that he got around Castro. Oh, it looks like Dalton is taking a look at Bifogel there. Look, man, he keeps trying to make that move, but he has not been able to do anything that make it stick. But this is reminding us of some of the racing we saw earlier with the guys up front in the MX-5, nose to tail, and he just cannot seem to make it make that pass. He can't find the place to actually make that move.
Yeah, he gets a little squirrely there coming out of the hairpin. This is an example of what 2.5 hours of racing, what it does compared to like the 45-minute shorter races that a lot of the series run. He's able to sit back there. He knows he really doesn't have a chance to get up really to 5th position. Well, it's only about 10 seconds back, to be honest with you. So maybe saying, if I can get around, I got a shot, maybe get up with those other guys. So he might be getting a little impatient here.
Yeah, and you know what? And Chad is, he is an extreme racer at heart, and his favorite track is Bristol. And I don't know, I looked a couple times there, like he was going to give him the chrome horn and try to get around, but that's not Chad's style. But maybe his Bristol blood was starting to seep through there, saying, all I got to do is just give him a little tap, and I bet you I can get by. But he backed her off. So, James, back in the MX-5, what have you been keeping an eye on there with those guys back in the other class?
Well, I put on a nose plug because Sonny Ketchum is stinking up the field currently as we come back. But right now, Sonny Ketchum is leading your ST class, and we'll head back to James Stevenson. Still running competitive laps. I mean, what Soup's been saying, if we get a yellow, we're going to have another great battle for your lead here in the ST class. But we do have James Stevenson back there in second place, and Travis Schwinke here in the 75. Asbury Motorsports 1, 2, 3, rounding out your whole podium here in the ST class right now. He's back here in third, and then all the way back to Brian Cartier, number 63, Phoenix Racing. He is in fourth, and then we have the 49 Motorsports C of Christopher Henn back here in fifth. Heat and Bake Racing. Let's see if I can find them to see where they are on track. With Al Heaton, he is back here in sixth. Going back to Extreme Motorsports 3 in the 32 with Daniel Kruger currently on board right now. 49 Motorsports A with Robert Hartley is back there in eighth. And we've also had Mama Jean Racing. They've officially given up the ghost. Oh, we have a great battle going on.
Just to interrupt here, we've got those MX-5s as we were going by them there. Cataguzinos and Bieri were kind of almost trying to use them as picks as they went by there, and I'm actually amazed that they managed to get through there unharmed, because that was a couple of tight moments there.
But Cataguzinos now he was trailing Bieri, so he's got that spot. So we'll see what Bieri does. Bieri's the greatest driver. I don't think a yellow flag is out of the question here with all the battles that are going on with the Mustangs. The MX-5s, which are notorious for really putting on the show, they don't have anybody within 2 or 3 corners of each other. I mean, they are spread out equally all around the track. Meanwhile, these Mustangs have battles everywhere. And I want to be the town crier here as the interval from Parks back to your leader now, from Parks to S-House is down to 2 seconds. Look at that great stationary camera angle from Dougie Beard. I love those camera shots.
Yeah, showing off some of the beautiful scenery around here for sure. But yeah, that is you're right. Essos is now within 2 seconds of that lead. So once he got around Castro, it didn't take long for him to start eating into that lead for sure, and he is almost there.
Well, we're talking about the beautiful scenery, and I mean, honestly, these amazing graphics. But both you guys have dated yourself. I'm going to go ahead and date myself a little bit. Okay, do you know when Suzuka Circuit made its video game debut?
Forza 1.
It was back in pole position 2. And back then, there was licensing issues, and it was called the Namco Museum. Yeah, Suzuka Circuit joined the Fuji Speedway in the second pole position, and that was the first time that we saw this racetrack. And I guess I don't know if we could really call that sim racing back then, but that's kind of where it all started here. And I think that the graphics improved just a little bit here over the years.
Yeah, I remember playing those old pole position games, pole position 1, and that wasn't sim racing so much as it was just, I don't know, some sort of arcadey joke. I didn't even realize they had tracks in there that would have roads, that sort of racing. But speaking of racing, Essos has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. He is right on the tail of our leader, Craig Parks, and I don't think it's going to be too much longer before he gets this done. As they head down... As they head down into turn 1, Craig Parks takes a little bit of wider turn there, and Essos is keeping it nice and tidy for a nice exit on that corner. He ate up a lot of time through there as they head through this series of S's here. Paul Parks gets a little bit off into the dirt. That's going to affect his corner a little bit. Essos is right on his tail there. I think we're going to see this pass in a couple corners here, Bill.
Let's see what kind of fight Parks puts up here. Clearly the writing's on the wall. Do you want to try to hold him off for the next hour? We'll see how much Parks making him work for it. As they go down here, they're going to be coming into Spoon here in a second. They do this right-hander. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not Spoon. Now they're going down into the hairpin. Let's see where Ness House is going to set him up here. Not going to get him. See if he gets a bite out of the hairpin here.
Yeah, and just watching the two lines of them as we have these great camera angles here, like the S-House is just beating him on those corners and just hitting those apexes a lot sharper than Park has been doing, and that's helped him gain that time up. Although Parks has put a little bit of a distance there, so we'll see if this next set of corners brings them closer together.
Yeah, let's see. Gets a pretty good S-House gets a pretty good bite off of here. I think the problem may be for S-House is that he's really fast through the S's, and that's not really going to help you make the pass here. See if he can get a toe as they come up to 130R. Probably don't want to do it there.
Oh, and James Stevenson is going to pit this time by. He is your second place here in the ST class.
I believe that he was one of the first to pit on the first cycle as well. It looks a little early because I think we were about lap 20 last time those guys pit, or lap 20 for the overall. But so he is in and started the pit cycle here as up at the lead. Nothing has changed yet there. Heading down the front stretch towards turn 1, S-House is there, but not close enough to take a peek on the inside quite yet, although he does seem to get a tidier entrance and exit through that turn 1, and man, it is impressive how he is getting through those corners.
See, he's really good. He's really good through this section. This is where he's making up all of his time. But unfortunately, this is not the place where you can make a pass.
Yeah, he's going to have to hope that he gets through these corners and continues to do so that when he gets on that straight stretch, he has the power as he gets the drive off the corner in order to actually make that pass happen. Because I don't think he's going to make it happen in these corners. Like you said, Bill, it's not a place to make that pass. He's got to set it up for that long straight stretch.
And while we're looking at this, to talk about Stevenson, that's within the window. See, now, in road course racing, for you oval fans, I know you don't want to pit under green, but here you can make your pit stop if you can stay on the lead lap. If Stevenson were able to, as they have, these lead cars now have Robert Hartley up ahead of them, this could be an issue if they get to Hartley in the spoon. If you can get your pit stop out of the way and then have the yellow come out, you don't have to come back in. You find yourself up in front. Let's see what happens here. Hartley does a good job of staying out of the way.
Yeah, not surprising there. I mean, Hartley is his race is basically written in stone already, so not surprising that he got out of the way and didn't want to interfere with this lead battle.
Looks like S-House might have had a good drive out of spoon, but doesn't make up much time here. And then they come down to 130R again, and I sure hope they don't decide to do it there, because that's probably the most dangerous place to try something. He gets a real good run, though, a real good run out of there. But then I think he had to actually check up, don't you think there, Trevor? Looked like I think he was actually too close. He may want to lay back. I noticed that on the last lap as well, that he gets a good drive out of 130R. He may want to hold back and maybe get a run into the Casio Trag.
Yeah, because we've seen how he's handling those technical parts of the course really, really well. The S's and the triangle there. So if he can get close enough and get a good turn 17 there onto that front stretch, that's I think where he's going to end up making the passes out of turn 17 eventually. But of course he'll probably make a liar out of me and make that on this lap here. But we'll see. But he is definitely putting on a show, trying to get around Parks. Parks is doing an awesome job keeping him back there. Looking back into the pack a little bit here, we've got Chad Dalton has finally made his way around Breyfogle there. So as they enter into the triangle themselves, Chad has made that pass stick and is heading down the front stretch. And let's see if he can make some distance now.
And waving back at Breyfogle as he goes. Yeah, he's stretching it out now. See, it's not that far. It's only 11 seconds from Bieri in 5th position back to Dalton in 6th. And I think now that Dalton's got around Breyfogle, he might be able to see if he can get up there and race with those guys.
Looking back up at the front there, S.O. has not been able to make that pass yet, but he is sticking with them in the corners. But definitely shout out to Craig Parks here. He is doing an excellent job of just racing his race and not letting S-House shake him, get him off his game and send him off track. He's doing a great job of keeping her under control and keeping S-House behind him so far.
Yeah, I honestly think here that... Oh, look at how close he is. I think S-House might be actually too close here because he gets a really good drive out of 130R. He may want to make... He may have a move here. He may think about making it beforehand. The problem is, if he doesn't get there, he can't take advantage of the speed he picks up going into 130R because he has to check up. It's a pretty good bite off of there. Not going to be able to get him yet.
Looking a little bit farther back here, Bill, looking back at Kevin Ford there in the 10th position. Of course, he had that problem with the pits, but he is down to 2.4 seconds away from Travis Davis there, so he is looking at trying to pick up some more positions as behind him an MX car has a bit of a moment coming out of that corner, but I think he's going to be up into 9th position before too long. All right, looks like Travis Schwenke has entered pit road and is sitting in his stall getting service. So we should be seeing a lot more of the MXs come in now as Schwenke is pulling out of his pits and heading back down onto the track. And that, of course, promotes James Stevenson up into 2nd position as he has not made his pit stop yet, and neither has Sonny Kenshin, so still out in the lead of the MX class. Failed to mention him a couple times because he's out there just racing his own race, but Sonny Kenshin is still leading the MX5 class and has a pit stop coming up.
Actually, no, James Stevenson has made his pit stop, so he's good to go.
Oh, you're right. Thank you, James. That's you are absolutely correct. He has.
Yeah, he was one of the first ones to pit road about 15 minutes ago here in the 426. So James Stevenson, that should move him up into 2nd. But a good, let's see, not too much further back. Let's see how much we have going back. Joe, just the Degner curve really between these two. So we could potentially see a good battle for 2nd later on in the race.
Yeah, and actually looking at the timing and scoring of Sonny Kenshin, he has about a minute 16 on 2nd position, James Stevenson there. So he can come in, safely make his pit stop, and get out and still maintain that lead. That is how far out ahead he is at this point in time.
He could join his lazy pit crew that we've been talking about today with some ice cream or... Bill, what were you talking about earlier?
I have no idea. Seems like a long time.
Well, there you go. None of this stuff by Bill is ever premeditated. It's all just random. We were talking earlier. It's like Bill uses a Mad Lib and just kind of picks a random food and a noun and throws that into the broadcast. But it always makes it entertaining. But yeah, again, Sonny Kenshin is making just a fantastic race. He just really doesn't need to make any mistakes at this point, and he's looking pretty good, man. And I just seen this, and Sonny has been going through the Degner curve harder than anybody else, smoking those tires every single time going through there, and man, it just looks cool. He's driving this car to the limit and hasn't made a single mistake so far.
Yeah, I want to talk here about Dexter Castro. He was actually beginning to gain. He was in 3rd position when he came into the pits right now. He's in the pits. He was beginning to run down Parks and S-House. And what could happen here? Castro could come in, get some fresh rubber, although Dexter loves to run on old rubber. But if he can come in, get some tires, come out and run some hot laps, he could get these guys. I really think S-House really has to start thinking about getting around Parks. Or Castro's gonna surprise him when the pit cycle finishes.
Yeah, well, we know how strong of a racer Castro is for sure. Looking back a little bit further back in the Mustangs, looks like Chad has lost that position back. So Jason is now back ahead of Chad in 5th position. So I missed the pass, but noticed they had swapped positions back again. So we'll see if the pit cycle shakes it up. They got an MX-5 between the two of them here. Looks like Chad's having a bit of a trouble getting past that. That is, of course, Brian Cartier in the number 63 car, and Chad can't quite make it past, and that is letting Jason stretch it out a bit on him.
And while that was going on, we did also notice that James Stevenson did have to come back in for another pit stop. I'm not quite sure because he did pit earlier and he was within the fuel window. So I don't know if there was some type of penalty that he had to serve or what the situation was. But yeah, we do see the 426 come back in, and that gave it up to the 75 there.
Ooh, speaking of Dexter Castro, he just came out of the pits, as we mentioned there. Him and Chad had a bit of a moment there, stuck behind Brian Cartier there, and Chad was trying to get out of the way, but also trying to get past the MX-5, and fortunately they managed to make it through there nice and safe.
Okay, now Parks is in. Yeah, see, Castro is on a mission right now. He can't fool around. He's got fresh rubber. He was trying to make up some time. Parks come in. He might have actually scraped the right side of his car coming into pit lane. Let's see if they do a driver swap here and turn it back over to his partner, Craig Williams. Well, I'll see if I can pick up Castro. Castro, yeah, there's the driver change. So Williams is in. Oh, and now Casasino has gone by. He inherits that position. And sure enough, Castro's on the main straight right now. And Castro is going to get the position. Castro has passed Parks in the pits.
Huh.
Parks
that is
just coming out. Now remember,
by a far margin there.
Castro was about 4 seconds back of those two. That was Parks and Eshouse. Now, so Eshouse still has that pit stop to make. Castro has come out in fourth. He's behind Bifogel right now, and he does not. Bifogel is on a different pit strategy. I believe Bifogel has one more to make, so Castro will want to make short work here because he wants to put in some hot laps. He needs to make hay here while the sun is shining.
True enough, although, keeping in mind, of course, that is for position, so Bifogel has no obligation to let him by, even though we know that Castro is on the fresh rubber. So if he can, it might actually suit Jason a little bit to kind of hold him back there a little bit and say, you know what, let's use up a little bit of that rubber getting around me because I'm going to have to pass you a little bit later. Castro does make the turn going into, or the pass going into the hairpin. I got to head in my words there. So he has now been released to try to make some fast lap times while waiting for the rest of the leaders to come in and make their pit stops.
It was 50 seconds at the start-finish line, the distance between Eshouse and Castro. Well, that seems like a long time. I don't know if Eshouse is going to go around one more time. I think this is a mistake. Now, of course, it all comes back the other way. The old rubber that Eshouse is on now is the newer rubber he'll be on later in the race. But Castro's out there on fresh tires. He's got to be. We'll get it a little different. It was 50 seconds. We'll see what it is when Castro goes across the start-finish line this time.
Yeah, I mean, history has taught us that pitting earlier is always better than pitting later, even though your tires will wear out a little bit more at the end of that run. But that if you are released to put some fast lap times down, then you can make up a lot of track position out there. It looks like Katakazinos is in, as is Bifogel. So both of those guys are in, which leaves only, I believe, Davis and Eshouse out there on the Mustangs who have not made their pit stop yet. Oh, and Trocin is also not pitted yet, but he also was the last of the Mustangs to pit last time too, I believe.
That's right. The Mama Jean car might be fast, but she gets good mileage. Just like Mama Jean.
It's that extra bit of gin in the tank to burn just a little bit longer.
I tell you what, guys, I snuck away down here to the Mama Jean Racing Pit, and they have a whole assortment of sushi. They had some edamame, lots of sake and everything. I mean, they're having a party down here for sure, and we're just watching, again, Sonny Catchin just drive away from this field. So we're just down here having a party here in the Mama Jean Racing Pit. Watching this ST battle, which again is just kind of seeing, making sure that Sonny doesn't make any mistakes here going forward.
Yeah, my timing and scoring shows Sonny. I'm not sure this is right. I have him as 85 seconds up on Travis Schwenke. That's a minute 25. My goodness.
And Bill, looks like S-House has gone by pit entrance once again, so he's making at least another lap here. Let's see if that timing is coming down any.
Well, I told you it was 50 before. Last time I looked, it was 51 from Castro, but the Castro was stuck behind the slower car. So we'll see. This one, Castro's had clean driving all the way. He's had clean track in front of him.
Yeah, looking at their last pits, S-House was still 2/10 faster on that last lap. So we'll see, like you said, now that Castro's had some clean run, we'll see if that makes any difference here. But I don't think that rubber's helping S-House, and as long as he's not losing time, then run her until they start falling off, I say.
Well, Dexter was not real confident coming into the race. I think his quote was, "Man, I'm going to be slow." So it might be a case of him just not having the pace today. Let's see. He's going to cross the start-finish line now. 51.8 is what it was before, and it crosses. Looks like it's, oh my goodness, dropped back even farther. No, 51.8. So he didn't lose any time, I guess, that time. Yeah, not. Now it's just a question of, can you come in and do your pit stop in 51 seconds?
Well, we know the actual pit stop itself takes between 22, 29 seconds, depending on what type of service you're doing there. And then there's obviously the run down there. I know Castro's lap was 3:05 for the entire lap when he came in for his pit stop. So, Bill, do some math. I know you're good at it.
Well, we can try to figure that out. It's close. 3:05 seems like a little longer than I would think S-House should be able to get in and out before then. You know, we love the MX-5s. They're a fun car, but I'll be honest with you guys, there's not a battle in sight anywhere.
Well, we do have one that's starting to develop here, Soup, and we do have James Stevenson that is starting to catch up a little bit here with Christopher Hinn, and so I think before too long we will have a little bit of a battle. And well, actually, I think that James Stevenson, he might be able to get in that slipstream here. We'll find out here after we get through the hairpin, and now we have some good wide open track here. So we'll see. I think he's starting to close in just a little bit more. I think we're going to have a battle here in the next couple laps.
Oh, here goes Bieri in there, gonna kind of mix them up, split them up a little bit. A little love tap from Stevenson, I think. Get that Mustang out of here.
He just stuck his nose in there. It's like, you know what? I'm coming through. And, you know, it's with those Mustangs being so much bigger than the MX cars, like, it's hard to argue with that. Yeah. It's like, you know, I'm coming through. It's like a tractor trailer decides he wants the space. You give it to him.
Yeah, you want to bang fenders with me? I'm a Mustang. Go ahead.
We'll see who wins that battle.
Yeah. Oh, Michael Key almost lost it.
Actually, looking back in 18th position there, Daniel Kruger there in Extreme Motorsports 3 just had a bit of a moment as S-House went by him. He went out into the dirt to get out of the way. He said, I'm going to get out of the way, and then I'm going to keep getting out of the way, but managed to keep it off the wall, so no harm, no foul for him. Oh, man, I think S-House's tires are starting to give out. He just came through the hairpin. On exit of the hairpin, that car stepped out a good 20 degrees on him, so I think he's going to probably come in.
And we have James Stevenson. He is there, and he's going to duck low down this long front straightaway. We'll see who's going to wind up victorious down here going into turn one. And yeah, James Stevenson is going to take that position pretty easily from Christopher Hinn. And I think that James Stevenson has a good bit before he catches up to Brian Cartier in the Phoenix Racing. Still with 41 minutes to go, he could potentially catch him, but he's going to really have to start moving here. But he has been running quicker lap times, actually one of the quickest here on the racetrack. So we definitely could see a battle here before the end of this race. But as of right now, James Stevenson on Christopher Hen made that pass look really easy.
And S-House is into the pits here for his service, as I kind of figured, because those tires looked like they were done.
Castro knocked off 0.8 of a second that last time, but boy, he's got a long way to go. He's just exiting Spoon right now. He's got this long back straight. He's got to go to 130R, then the Casio triangled onto the lead, onto the main straight. That seems like a lot of time. S-House has in his box now safely.
We also saw a little bit of contact there between Travis Davis and Sam Katakuninos. I don't think they made any contact there, and they're going to both keep going, but they definitely had a miscommunication there going into the hairpin.
Castro now coming out of the Casio triangle. I think he's got a shot at this. I think Castro's going to get him. S-House is rolling. Castro's is full speed down the straightaway. S-House trying to get that engine revved up. Here comes Castro. They're going to meet at turn 1. Castro still has some momentum. He's going to pull out right behind him.
Oh, and you can see that S-House is struggling with those slightly cooler tires that haven't got warmed up yet. He was sideways going through that sequence of corners here, so he feels the pressure from Castro for sure.
But now, as we talked about, the tables have turned. Once S-House can get those tires warmed up, they are 4 or 5 laps fresher than what Dexter's got on his.
Yep, for sure, and looks like he is now legging it out. So we had Dexter came out a lot closer than I thought he was going to there, but looks like S-House with the fresher rubber, and now they are going to be coming into the proper temperature zone, is stepping it out on Castro, and looks like he's going to increase that lead. But Castro came close on that sequence of pit stops.
You go back to the time that Castro lost when he was stuck behind the slower car that was they were battling for a position that was on older tires. That might have been the difference. If Dexter, look at that battle we see right there with Thierry and Davis.
Yeah, it looks like so we've actually got we've actually got 3 Mustangs close to each other here. We had everybody spread out by a bunch here for a while here, but looks like it might be heating up here between these 3 cars, Davis, Bieri, and Katakudzinos. Pretty near fell out of my chair trying to wrap my tongue around that one.
The bad news for Travis, I'm not sure he's actually made his second stop yet.
No, looking at timing and scoring, he has not made that stop yet. So unfortunately, that is going to be a bit short-lived for the bit of that battle. But hey, you know what? He's up there mixing it up with these faster cars, and he's going to probably sit there and enjoy it for as long as he can before his crew says, "Bring her on in."
That's the same situation for the driver running in 4th position right now, Extreme Motorsports. That's the Kevin Ford machine. And I would like to say he hasn't made a second pit stop yet, but that would be incorrect. He actually has made a second pit stop. The problem is they were 1 lap after each other, so he has that 3rd stop to make.
Yeah, unfortunately, although, good job by him, a little bit of recovery to get up into that 4th position. We know he's going to have to make a stop, probably going to bring her in. Here comes Travis Davis into pit road, so he is now going to relinquish that bit in the battle to get service on the car. But I was going to say Ford is actually he can go a little bit longer because he had to make that extra pit stop, so he's got a little bit of extra time out there. So, but nice recovery by him to get up into 4th position. We'll see where he ends up after he makes that last stop, though. All right, looking through our time.
Al Heaton.
We have a car stopped on the track here. Looks like Al Heaton is facing the wrong way out on the grass there.
Yeah, and he spun it just in front of Schwenke. Schwenke got around him.
Right.
Just had finished up the S's. I believe there's a name for that corner. I'm not familiar with what it is, but it's just before Degner.
Dunlop curve.
Dunlap curve. There you go.
All right, and we're going to replay here. We'll see what happened.
I think he needed some better Dunlaps on there when it kept him on the curve.
True. Just oversteer. Just came through the corner, and she didn't stop turning on him. Made light contact with the wall.
That's a 2-hour mistake. That's Al doesn't do that.
Well, I mean, and we've talked about it, Bill, as well. That does play a factor in this is a 2.5-hour race, and it takes that concentration in order to keep hitting your marks lap after lap, and it doesn't take nothing but a quick little lapse, and you're spinning into the wall.
Yeah, Heat and Bake, he's soloing it, and that's not to mention he put in a 45-minute of practice earlier in the MX-5s. It's been a long day for him.
All right, looks like Sonny Kenshin has made his stop and is back out on the track, still in the lead as we anticipated. So most cars have made their final stop, although there are a few MXs that have not. Brian Cartier has not. Christopher Henn, Al Heaton, I'm sure we'll be seeing him in pretty soon to deal with that damage. Actually, a lot of the MXs haven't come in yet, so Sonny Kenshin's in a lot earlier than the other guys.
No, I believe everyone else, they have made their last pit stop, though. And Sonny was just the last one to come in to make that pit stop. And right now, Travis Schwenke is your second-place driver. But he's just now heading into the S-curve. So, again, Sonny has a big lead on the rest of this field right now. And then a good bit back before we get to Brian Cartier in the Phoenix Racing. Number 63, he was just now heading out of the first turn as well, but James Stevenson has caught him. So that actually happened a lot quicker than what we were expecting to happen. So we'll have a battle here as James Stevenson has caught up, and we'll probably be trying to work over that Phoenix Racing Mazda here before too long.
Now, I'm looking at my timing score. It looks like James Stevenson has made that additional stop, but I'm only showing one pit stop for Brian Cartier here. So either my wonderful machines are lying to me, or he still has to make another stop. Yeah, Cartier actually just had a bit of a moment there, and the lap before he had actually also had another moment. So he's struggling for control. So I'm imagining that those my timing scoring is correct, and he needs to get some fresh rubber on that car.
Yeah, and quick work made of Cartier there as James Stevenson will start pulling away out of the hairpin and heading down to the spoon. We will see you later. Phoenix Racing number 63, as James Stevenson has places to be, and that is the podium. Is currently an Asbury Motorsports 1-2-3 right now in your ST MX-5 class.
Yeah, Cartier came in on lap 28. That was about 20 laps ago. Here's a battle. We're going to go back up here because, darn it, they passed. I've been watching it. They got around. It's Patrick Bieri and Sam Katakuzinos. Those guys have swapped positions again. Cat was out in front. He was originally behind, got around Patrick. Patrick got him back.
And also ahead of them, but not any longer, is Kevin Ford is now bringing that car down. We knew he had to make that extra stop, unfortunately, due to that mishap in the pits earlier. So he is coming down pit road for what will be his final pit stop, and perhaps a driver change. We'll have to see.
Well, this is interesting. Schwenke got hung out there, and Bieri got around Schwenke, but he didn't get much bite, and then Cat going to follow him through. Cat right on the tail of Bieri. Those little MX-5s, they do a pretty good job through the S's hating with those Mustangs.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can see what Schwenke does there. Schwenke can run right with those. He might actually even be a little faster there.
man, he is. Those guys are probably sitting there going, hey, we're having a battle up here, Schwenke. If you don't mind backing off a little bit here, because we're the big cars. If you don't, if you wouldn't mind just letting us do our thing up here. But it looks like they're making a little bit of distance now that they've had a little bit of time to get some straight stretches between them.
I mean, who wouldn't think that the big, bulky American muscle car wouldn't be that good in turning?
Good with the horsepower, bad with the turning.
Compared to a Japanese car on a Japanese track, yeah, probably.
Let's see, looking back through this timing and scoring, looks like that is our best battle out there, is Katakuzinos and Bieri, for sure, and they're fighting for 5th and 6th position.
We can stay on that battle on screen, but I'll just update you that S-Hausches, you can probably see it on the ticker there. He has really pulled away. Well, actually, the ticker doesn't have time, so I'll give you the time. It's 3.8 seconds now he's opened up on Castro. Oh, there we go.
Looking at the ticker, that doesn't have the time, but now does.
Did it, no.
Oh, looks like Katakuzinos is really putting the pressure on Bieri here. Bieri got a little bit loose in the last corner there, and Katakuzinos looks like he has a run going down the front stretch here, thinking about sticking his nose in there before they get down to turn 1, and backs it off. Doesn't look like he's going to stick it in there, but I think he has sent the message saying, you know what, I am coming, I am faster, and I'm going to get by you before the end of this race.
But Trevor and James, this has huge implications because this is the battle that could bring out the yellow that could erase the giant lead that Katchins has, So one mistake from these guys changes the whole complexion of the last 30 minutes of this race.
Well, and we can't lose sight of that. I mean, we've still got a half hour of racing here, so a lot can change between these guys, and all it's going to take is somebody to not be able to get their car back to pit road, and we'll have to have a caution go out because, to reiterate, in case you were just joining the broadcast or new to this series, they do have full course cautions with a live race marshal watching all the action out on the track, and if somebody can't make get their car safely off the track and back to pit road, they will throw that caution.
Especially when they come up on track. They're coming up now on Robert Hartley. They're going to catch him in the hair. It looks like they might be able to get him in a good spot here on this straight, this angled, before they get to Spoon. Let's see if these Mustangs can get it going here. I think Hartley's going to be able to get out of the way.
Yeah, it looks like he's pulling over to the left and letting these guys have preferred lane going through there. So nice job by Hartley to not interfere with this great battle that we have between these two guys. Katakuzinos looked like he wanted to take a little bit of extra track here going through that corner, and ended up a little bit out in the dirt, but kept her pointing in the right direction.
Right now, seeing George Johnson. Oh, George Johnson is off. He is a little bit off now. He's way off. Coming out of the Spoon there. Does keep it straight, though, and he will rejoin the racing surface. But that's going to be big, because I think he's going to lose a couple positions because of that.
Yeah, he's got Scott Brooks right behind him. Just kind of looking through my timing and scoring, and no, he is definitely he is a lap down to him. So I wasn't sure, but unfortunately that is not for position for Mr. Brooks. But Slow Johnson being a little bit of Dirt Johnson here. We seem to give him an extra nickname each and every race that we have him in here, but keeping the car going where it's supposed to go, even though he's doing a little bit of dirt racing. Dirt has been confirmed recently for iRacing, so maybe he's just giving it a shot.
Well, He's got to get it going because he's got, while it's Brett Trozine behind him that's not for position, he does have Kevin Ford who's making a run, starting to ease in. So we're going to watch that. Kevin Ford is knocking off time really quick. That's a battle for 8th spot. We like to salute Kevin. He's out there. He had that problem where maybe we can get him to come in for a post-race interview and find out why they had to do that second stop. That was deadly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is a minute and 25 seconds back from the leader right now, and you take off that extra pit stop, and how long it takes to go down there, and what could have been.
But he's running down. He's knocking off the time there on George. You can see the interval going down to 3.9. You see the little number. Oops, now it goes up to 4.1. Oh, no, my director changed spots there on me. Okay. George Johnson in Minnow, 3.7. See it coming down.
And to update everybody, you haven't missed anything. Catagazinos is still chasing down Vieri, but has not made that pass yet. So you haven't missed anything out there on the track, with that being our closest battle out there on the track. And Dexter Castro has now fallen about 6 seconds back from S-House. So unless a mistake happens or yellow comes out there, I think S-House is just going to cruise to a victory unless a mistake is made out here.
Well,
Right.
let's go and check out our ST field here. We don't want to brag too much on Asbury Motorsports, but right out there, 1, 2, 3, with your leader, Sonny Catchin. Travis Schwenke there in third, and then James Stevenson, who has been driving back up through here after having to make an extra pit stop. He did make his way back up into third position, so that is your top three right now, Asbury Motorsports. In the 74, 75, and number 426. So nice and orderly too there in number fashion as well. So they're making it look really nice at least. But then we'll head back to the 49, and that's going to be Robert Hartley in the 49 Motorsports A. As we say that, he does go off track.
You have the driver's comment. Even when we go out of order, we jinx them. Sorry.
Yes, meant to go to the other 49 Motorsports, who is in the 47, and that is going to be Christopher Henn. He is currently in fourth place, and then we'll head back to the 63, who does not have a number in his team name, and that's going to be the Phoenix Racing of Brian Cartier, who is currently in fifth position. And then we'll head back to Extreme Motorsports 3, halfway there as far as the numbers and everything go. But that's Daniel Kruger. He's back there in sixth position. He's on his own lap, 2 laps behind the Phoenix Racing. Then we'll go back to Heat and Bake in the number 15 car with Al Heaton, doing all 2.5 hours by himself out here. Again, he's back there 2 laps behind, but he does have who we were incorrectly talking about earlier, and that's Robert Hartley. He is on the same lap, and so Robert Hartley is going to try and catch that number 15 here before we head off. And then, of course, you have the Mama Jean Racing Mazda, which is sitting in the pits, enjoying a smorgasbord with his crew that does not want to work on anything today except making a couple more notches in their belt line. So that is your ST field here as we are coming up on 20 minutes here left to go in the race.
And Mama Jean Racing, that Jeroen Ursum car, that's the only car that's not running right now. Everybody's still out there.
Yeah, these there hasn't been a lot of attrition, obviously, with and Jeroen was a bit of a edge case there, as he seemed to be actively attempting to kill that car. So he managed to finish the job and get it out there, and is probably out there having a word with his mechanics, attempting to explain to them that during a race they are supposed to work on the car and not just ignore him and laugh from the sidelines. So I'm sure Jeroen is going to be back in the holler with those guys and explaining how that all works.
I'm going to take you through the field, but we're going to do it in the reverse order. We're going to start back in for the Mustangs. We're going to start in 11th position right now. Brett Terzine out there, Mama Jean Racing. Oh, it's Scott Brooks is back in. Look at that. They've made a swap. Scott Brooks, who opened up, has come back in for Brett Terzine. Move up one position, and that's Travis Davis in the machine there for Flying Tortoise Motorsports, running in 10th spot. And it's about 17 seconds farther up then to Kevin Ford, who's still putting in, trying to run down. Ford is in 9th, trying to run down, not far ahead. We're going to come and get this pass. George Johnson for Slow Johnson Racing. It's down to 2 seconds now as Kevin tries to run him down. Johnson running in 8th position there. Up to 7th spot, Chad Dalton, who we've seen a lot of today. It looks like that battle has finally eased up that he's had most of the day with the Wild Horse Racing. That's in 6th position of Jason Bifogel. Then we go up to 5th spot, and here it is. We've been watching it. It's the best race on the track right now. Sam Katakuzinos, just a few seconds back. Still been following him all the back there of Patrick Bieri. Katakuzinos for Busch Racing Yellow, and Extreme Motorsports 2 is where Bieri is. Then we get up to Greg Parks, who's had a great run with his is it Greg Parks? No, it's Greg Williams, sorry. Greg Williams. Craig Parks is the partner. Parks and Williams have that Busch Fink Racing red team up in 3rd position. 49 Motorsports solo run from Dexter Castro. And that gets us up to your leader, Mika Eshaus.
Now,
There you go.
Is it just me, or does Parks and Williams sound like the sort of lawyer firm that you would trust with your money? I don't know. It just sounds like a great establishment.
I like Heaton Bake Racing. I think that's Al Heaton, and he races with Matthew Baker. So Heaton Bake, that's good.
That's some clever naming right there. And Katakuzinos has actually fallen back to just over a second away from Bieri there, but looks like he has reeled him back in. I guess he probably maybe had a little bit of an off, or a little bit of a couple tires on the dirt, or maybe just wanted to ease off a little bit and see if he could get a run at him. But he is back there and hounding him for that position once again.
George Johnson lead is now 1.5 seconds back, and maybe we can. I love the director loves it when I call for shots.
Go back to Chad Dalton. He has now just spun out. I don't think he hit anything. Looked like he was getting a little bit squirrely. Tried to save it, and then lost it completely. Unfortunately for Dalton, who was having a good run here tonight.
That was just in front of George Johnson. Dalton a lap down though.
Who went into that corner, cooked it, spun the tires up, tried to get her straightened away again, and then lost her the other way. But good job to not hit anything there and keep it off the track.
And let's go to Mama Jean Racing here. He got punted by an MX-5. Go back, I'll tell you, it's a few seconds. It's in the triangle, director. As James Stevenson gave him that's a little embarrassing to get punted by an MX-5. See if we can go back far enough here.
Ooh, oh! Speaking of which, right now, Stevenson and Brooks are changing paint door to door.
Yeah, I think this is little hurt feelings here.
Yeah, I think so. As he comes up on him again and is on his quarter panel, and he's saying, "You know what? I apparently don't appreciate what's going on right here."
Oh my goodness. And the race control is actually giving 426. That's James Stevens telling him to behave. And we talked about the Miatas being faster through the.
It's like looking at a Chihuahua trying to bark at a Great Dane.
And we're gonna go and watch the Ford here make the pass on Johnson. That's an interesting dynamic going on back there with the Mama Jean Racing machine, though.
Yeah.
Ford has.
Oh, Castro has spun out here. Director trying to find. There he is, right there, getting it back straight away again. But Castro's had a moment in the hairpin by the looks of it. Going to replay right now. Let's see what happened.
Don't think he hit anything. Maybe backed it up against the wall, maybe a little bit.
Ooh, just looks like just a bit of a mistake, getting the gas a little bit too much through the hairpin.
But it cost him a position as Parks has got around him, I believe. Parks moves now into second place.
And by Parks, you mean Williams, of course.
Oh, sorry.
Parks and Williams. It's my law firm. You can't mess with them, Bill. But yeah, Castro, after having a strong run there, that mistake was enough to cost him the position, although it looks like he's only about 5 seconds back, so he still has a chance to get it back. All right, so we are going to allow our camera crew to hop into one of these cars here and give us a look at a lap around Suzuka here and see what it's like. We had our lap guide earlier at the race, but let's just sit back and enjoy a lap around Suzuka here. All right, so hope you enjoyed that race around there, and we're seeing some interesting stuff going on. We don't have necessarily a lot of battles for position out here, but there's been a lot going on here. We were talking about James Stevenson earlier and how he was having some moments with some of the Mustangs there, and that continued on, and he is determined not to let these Mustangs prove their power over him with his cornering ability.
I think James nailed it. He had like a Chihuahua attitude going on there. Just I'm little, but I'm tough. And to be honest with you, he is faster than some of the lapped Mustangs he was trying to get around.
Yeah, and watching those two, watching them race side by side, it really accentuates the difference in size between the Miata and the Ford. We've talked about it before, but it just looks silly when they're going by. Like the Ford Mustang is just so much bigger. Looks like Davis has gotten by Stevenson, but Stevenson is hanging in there tough.
Well, Stevenson is great. He's great in that Miata, and he's great through the S's. And some of those slower Mustangs, he really can run them down.
Yeah, for sure. Checking back on our one of our biggest battles out there, Cataxinos and Vieri, and Cataxinos is now about a second back from Vieri, so that has not changed positions yet. He's fallen back a little bit, whether it's strategy or just racing. He might be backing up for another run at him before this race ends, because we've only got about 13 minutes left in this race, so he does not have too much longer to make that pass happen.
As you look at that, though, right behind Cataxinos right now is Sonny Ketchen, your leader in the MX-5. He's so much faster than the Mustang through those S's. He actually is considerably faster. Now he'll lose a lot of ground as the Mustangs get to open it up.
Yeah, of course, talking about Sonny Kenshin, he is still out there leading by a good 42 seconds over Travis Schwenke, so nothing happening there. Actually, the MX class looking straight through. There's not a lot happening there, James. It looks like everybody just kind of settled into their positions, and nobody's challenging anybody right now.
No, and Yeah, we have Travis Schwinke that just went off there. That's about the most action we've seen here in the last 30 minutes or so, other than James Stevenson, barking louder than his bite here. But yeah, so no harm, no foul. He's going to get back on here, and we'll continue on. But here is don't look now, but here's James Stevenson and here's Scott Brooks. They're getting close again here on this race on this racetrack, and we'll see if it goes any different this time around. I'm going to guess that they've been yelled at, so we'll now that the race control has taken a newspaper to that number 426 knows and told him to behave a little bit. So I think that we probably won't see as much here between these two. I think Scott's still a little timid, not wanting to maybe wait till the straightaway before he tries to get right around James Stevenson.
Looking
11 minutes to go. This is an interesting battle that's going on here.
It is, as Brooks looks on the inside there, makes the pass clean so far, but as we approach the corner, we'll see if Stevenson closes it back up again.
Yeah, Scott Brooks, he might have made that pass, but his tail was between his legs, and he was definitely looking looking to see where that 426 was this time. He's going to. There he is. Here they go again. I just love the speed. I just love the speed difference between these cars. We'll see if Scott Brooks is able to muzzle his way up here and get enough of a gap here on James Stevenson.
We're on board with Stevenson. Brooks trying to get as far away as he can before they get to the S's.
Yeah, and I think he's probably got enough of gap here that he should be safe now from Stevenson. But that was entertaining to watch these two guys battling it out with the different class cars, and it did kind of accentuate the strengths and weaknesses of each of these cars. Where the Mustangs are really nimble in those corners, but the Mustangs just have the raw horsepower to get some distance on those straights.
Well, before we say anything, you could hear the yipping of James Stevenson coming up, and Scott Brooks has not gotten away quite yet. So we'll see. We got another set of tight turns here before we can really get to another straightaway. So Scott Brooks is not out of the woods quite yet.
So, Bill, I mean, before we started this race, did you imagine that with 9 minutes left in this race that the closest battle was going to be between an MX and a Ford?
Yeah, that's. I don't. I think Scott's finally going to be able to distance him now as he goes down into Spoon, and then outside of Spoon, he should be able to finally get rid of James. But yeah, that was exciting.
Checking back up with Catagazinos, and we don't necessarily have to go check on camera there, but just letting you guys know that he has fallen back a little bit from Pierre. He's now about 3.2 seconds back, so that battle has cooled down. Whether or not Catagazinos is taking a bit of a break to cool off his tires to make one final run before the end of this race, or he's just fallen back through natural racing, we'll have to see if he makes another run before the end of the race.
And after Dexter Castro had that little spin exiting the hairpin, and Craig Williams got around it for Bushfink Red, Williams has been able to run away as well. So Craig looks comfortable in second, Dexter comfortable in third, and of course Mika Etthaus about 17 seconds up in first place.
And actually, I was looking back and almost had a battle going on there, but Travis Davis has just made his way around Chad Dalton for ninth position, but Chad just kind of moved out of the way, let him go by, and said, hey, you ran me down, I'm not going to stand your way and have the position, I'll just follow you through here.
It's a rough day for the back markers, because usually they make their gravy by attrition, and there's been no attrition today.
No, we have Jeroen Ursum is obviously off track, and Al Heaton has just been sitting in his pit stall for the last little bit here. So other than that, everybody else is out there on the track and racing. So that's 18 cars still out on the track.
And not only that, but competitive as well. I mean, just looking at our Mustangs here, of the 11 starters, 10 are still on the lead lap. So not just hanging in there, but still being competitive.
Yeah, it's a great point, James, as well. That's looks like Chad with being 2 minutes back from the leader, and it's about 22 seconds up from there, and only 7 minutes left. Looks like we're going to have our top 10 finishing on the lead lap, which would be a good run after 2.5 hours for these guys. Looking back through, looks like Kevin Ford has made his way up to 7th position. He's got about 9 seconds to the 65, Jason Bifogel. So I don't think he's probably going to make that positions, but a recovery up to 8th isn't bad considering he had to make an entire extra pit stop.
Yeah, if anyone's, again, friends and family listening of that team of Kevin Ford or Todd Hansarenko, want to come in and tell us what happened there? Just have a quick question. Love to know. I'm thinking they must have forgot to hit the refuel button. They made their driver change and left. I can't imagine what else they could have been.
Well, I mean, it could just have just been a glitch. I mean, I know I have had races ruined by going in, pulling out of the pits, and looking down and seeing the gas tank right where I left it. That the indication of how much gas I had left in there, even though I know for sure I told him to put gas in. So it does happen on occasion in iRacing. But I mean, that's, that is racing. You can only do so much out on the track, and occasionally circumstances out of your control will take a race away from you, and that is what has happened with that Extreme Motorsports 1 team by the looks of it.
Well, James, sim racing has its glitches that kind of mimic real world racing. I mean, those things happen in real world racing too, and sim racing has its lost connections and its ghost contact that. Those are things that happen in real world that out of your control.
Yeah, and so, there are definitely some things that, iRacing will simulate very well. I mean, look at the marbles and the dynamic tracks we've had here. And the daylight will be coming here pretty soon as well. But, I mean, we definitely see a different track as we go along your pit stops. Oh, we have big smoke down there, and that looked like Daniel Kruger in Extreme Motorsports 3 heading down into Turn 1.
Going back to a replay to see what happened there. Oh, just got loose going into the corner. Saved it. Went through the grass anyway. And that could have been a bit of a moment there as well. Looks like he almost came out onto the track in front of Hartley, but managed to keep it off and not hit him. That was actually a close call there.
Yeah, but we do know that drifting is very popular over here in Japan, so I think Daniel was just trying to appeal to the local fan group here. But yeah, as Soup we were talking about earlier, you do have other things. We do have little glitches and everything. I know someone posted a race the other day of them running out of fuel and just stopping a little bit short of their pit stop. And you had the popsicle man just sitting there, like, "Con, just move a little bit forward." And it's like, no, I can't go anywhere. Why don't you guys push me? And they weren't doing it. So, and so you have little things like that as well. But I mean, iRacing does do a fantastic job of trying to make it as realistic as possible. But you're never gonna make it 100%. Like MX-5 trying to battle a Mustang here, and small little things like that.
Or your pit crew going on strike. That was an interesting one.
Indeed. I mean, although I don't think you really want, as we have 2 laps left to go here in this race, I don't think you really want some random number generator in the background saying, "Oh, sorry, you're leading, but your engine just blew up for no reason." I don't think we really want that in the service.
No, that would be much less easy to swallow than your own internet going down. I mean, that's, it kind of is in your own hands there.
Meanwhile, I'm looking back at James Stevenson. I was checking in on our leader, Mika S. House there, and James Stevenson is now on his tail, although I'm guessing that Essos has made the pass and is going to get away from Stevenson. But Stevenson is determined to get himself some camera time one way or another out here for sure. Although to mention, of course, we've been, kind of having some fun with James out here and his battles with the Mustangs, but he is third in class. That is your a podium sitter for the MX-5 class, so he has definitely raced an excellent race against the other MX-5 cars out there for sure.
James, a proud day for our associate Richard Losper, kind of the daddy of Asbury Motorsports. 1, 2, 3 for them.
Yeah, and we did see Richard in there earlier today as well. Now sitting there, might get a podium out of this if no incidents happen here between now and the finish, which, again, we're coming up. We have 1:30 left, so not too much longer here before we'll be getting that white flag, which I think might be happening this time by. We'll see.
Yeah, it looks like checking in on our leader, S-House. Looks like he's heading through the triangle now and going to be hitting that last turn 17. And I would guess that the white flag will be in the air when he comes by. So we'll check the flag stand and see if that is the case.
Yep, white flag is out. So one more lap here for Mika S-House. And also going back to the 74, your ST leader, he is just now heading into the hairpin, so another lap and a half for him to try and bring home this Asbury Motorsports podium sweep.
I think it's Sonny to do like a donut right now would be nice before the... He's got a 45-second lead. Do one. I'd like to see Sonny do a donut before the start-finish line.
A pre-victory donut.
Now, is that going to be a donut with sprinkles?
That would be with yeah.
Well, looks like we are getting in on the end of this race here. S-House is uncontested. Looks like there's basically no battles going out there. Looks like the positions are as they are going to finish, unless somebody makes a mistake here. But looks like this race is pretty determined so far. But let's see how it all plays out in these last couple turns, and as we get to the finish of this 2.5-hour race here, guys. This has been a long haul and had some moments for sure, and some quiet moments, some intense moments, and some more humorous moments as well.
I think the fact that we were actually enjoying a battle between an MX-5 and a backmarker Mustang says a lot about how things slowed down a bit there, as S-House now only has just the triangle to negotiate to bring this thing home.
Coming through the 130R there. Has a Mustang ahead of him, but I don't think that'll play into things at all as they come through the last corner as Mika S-House is getting ready to take the checkered flag and win this race for his class. So that is a great run by him. Nothing too unusual. We kind of figured he would have a good run, but he has taken the checkered flag and won this race. Great run by S-House.
I think we'll stay with us here as we'll follow the MX-5 leader along, but before we get there, we'll have Craig Williams come across for Team Bushfink Red. And Dexter Castro coming around the final corner for 49 Motorsports, the B team.
Yeah, and right now, the only person that will be finishing on the same lap as your leader will be Travis Schwinke. So, man, if Sonny had just been on the lap alone, then maybe he could have done those donuts and everything on there. But nope, he's got one person there to still worry about. As we're heading down the backstretch here with Sonny Cancham, and he'll be heading into the Spoon and then down the long straight into Casio to take the victory here today.
Patrick Bieri comes across in fourth. Mustangs, and Sam Catacusinos.
Well done, guys.
I think I have one more of those. No, I think you have the top 5 to do. I think I'm done with that name now.
And we have our 6th place runner, Jason Bifogel, is now coming through the last corner to take the checkered flag. And, of course, here comes your MX leader, Sonny Kenshin, after a great and dominating race, takes his checkered flag to win the MX5 class. Nice run by Sonny Kenshin there. All right, as these last cars come through to take the checkered flag, we're going to take a bit of a break here as Sonny Kenshin blows up his motor after he hits the start-finish line and goes in the last corner, decides that he's done with this car. He doesn't need any more. We will go to break, and we'll be back in just a few moments to run down the final finishing order and interview some of these drivers who have raced here. So we will be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Suzuka here in beautiful Japan as we take a nice helicopter ride over the track. It was an interesting race here, Bill. We had some good battles at the beginning, some good battles in the middle there, and then the end. Everybody kind of get their space going there, but in the end, we had the dominant cars definitely came out on top for sure. And let's go through the race results here as we had Team Bushfink Racing Blue finish in first position. Team Red for that same team finished in second position. 49 Motorsports, the B team. I keep wanting to call them the B team. I don't know how they feel about that. Finishing in third position. Extreme Motorsports 2 finishing in fourth. Fifth was Team Bushfink Racing Yellow. So we did see a breakup of the Extreme Motorsports and Team Bushfink with the top 5 dominance this race. Wild Horse Racing had a great run with a sixth position finish. Extreme Motorsports 1 finished in seventh. Slow Johnson Racing, good run by him doing his run solo in eighth position. Flying Tortoise Motorsports finishing in ninth, and finishing in 10th position was iRacing Today Motorsports, my personal favorite team. Where are we at with 11th there, Bill?
Last Mustang was Mama Jean Racing. That's the Gin machine, finishing 11th overall and at the tail end of the Mustangs. Then we get to the street tuner class, and that's Asbury Motorsports number 74, Asbury Motorsports number 75, Asbury Motorsports number 426. That number really doesn't belong in there, but that really 74, 75, and then 426 messes up my ADD.
I say your OCD is
my OCD
there. I don't like
problem.
this.
Yeah. I don't like the way that worked there. 49 Motorsports in 15th position, 4th overall, followed by Phoenix Racing, rounds out the top 5 in the class. We go back to 16th, 17th, and 18th, goes to, 17th position, Extreme Motorsports, 49 Motorsports in the 18th position. The final 2 MX-5s are going to be Heat and Bake Racing and Mama Jean racing the Vermouth there. So you can Heat and Bake and Vermouth at the end. And that's your 20 cars that started and 20 cars that finished. Trevor?
Well, it was like I said, it was, we had some good moments in there. We had some fun times and some beautiful scenery for sure. But we have, let's see, who do we have here in the interview booth here? I think we're going to bring down Mika Eshouse and James King, our overall winners here. So, Mika, since you finished out the car here, do you get a copy?
Yes.
That was a dominant performance by the two of you there. James did a great job of holding position for at the beginning of the race there, and then you came in and brought her home in first position. So how did that race feel for you guys?
That was the first race without any incidents, so that's good. First flawless race. So.
No incidents at all, did you say?
Well, I didn't mean that in terms of off tracks or anything, but last time we've had a few penalties and like I think that are jumping the start last time and crashing at Laguna. So yeah, that's good to have a race without any stuff like that.
Well, in a 2.5-hour race at a track this big, that is a key part of victory is not making any mistakes out there. And like you said, you guys didn't make any mistakes, and it was definitely a dominant race by you guys. James, you started up front there and then faded back to about 5th position for a while, and then kept station so that you could hand it over to Mika. So, how was the race from your point of view?
Well, it was interesting being probably one of the slower guys to start the race, being surrounded by guys like Todd, who obviously I've seen racing a lot before and know they are quite quick. It was a challenge not to cause the incidents and stuff. Had a bit of a get-together with Liam Hackworth, but we both walked away from it okay. It was a real tough challenge, but I enjoyed it a lot.
So, guys, with that victory in place and some dominance by Team Bushfink Racing once again in this series, any last words before we let you hit the showers and cool off from that long race?
Oh, I just hope we can continue showing this form at Watkins and get some more good points for the championship.
Yeah, I can second that as well.
Excellent. Great job by you two there. And Bill, I believe you have caught up with somebody else out there. Who you have?
Yeah, I think I have the second place team. I have Greg Williams. Let's see if I can bring in a pair of Gregs here. We have the Gregs of Williams and Parks together. Hi guys, you have a Parks and Williams. You guys have a copy?
Yep.
I do.
Well, you had a nice second place run here today. Kind of quiet. You saw? Yeah, I think you got yourself a lap led there. You were out in front for a while, picked up some points for leading laps. Running there in third, you were able to. Craig, I'm going to go with Williams, I guess. I don't think you were going to catch Dexter, but then he had a little spin. Did you know he had trouble? Could you in the box? Do you see yourself gaining on him?
Well, I had Craig telling me what lap times he was doing, and it was always exactly what I was doing, or a 10th here or a 10th there. But he just reported a couple of laps earlier that he was starting to lose the rear. And I was like, okay, I'll push a bit more and see if I can force him into a mistake. And I knew his car was a lot looser than ours coming out of the hairpin. So that was where he was going to lose it, if ever, because he did through Degner 2 under the bridge a little earlier in the race, and he and through the hairpin. Luckily for us, I guess, not for them, but luckily for us, he lost the rear coming out the hairpin, and I was able to get by. And once I was there, our lap times again were just exactly the same within a 10th or two. So I knew we had a good enough lead.
So who got the first stint? Was it Craig Parks who took the first stint?
Yeah, I did the first 2 stints this time.
Little hairy there at front, and we were talking earlier with some of the leaders. You know, the overall leader, it was, let's see, who was his? It was a King who had trouble because he had that pole position based on S-House's qualifying time. Then he had to drop back a little bit, little nervous there early on. There was some tight racing going on up front early.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, very touch and go. Obviously, trying to get the braking markers right for the cars in front. That's not trying to give any advantage to the cars behind. So, push you off your rhythm, and it puts you under a lot of pressure because you don't want to hit the guys in front, and you don't want the guys behind to hit you and ruin your race when you know it's a long race.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like anybody was really racing hard, but you guys were lacing close, and it was like, oh man, for being so early in the race, you could see you guys trying to be careful, but at the same time, you didn't want to give up the positions.
Yeah, I mean, when we race together, me and Craig, we don't leave each other alone, so we'll constantly give updates of who is where and what times they're doing. It got to such a point where, you know, I had a little Kimi Räikkönen moment, and I just said, listen, just leave me alone. I can't take all this information in and not hit the guys around me. I need to concentrate. But yeah, it was great fun. I really enjoyed it.
Well, it was eventful. It was eventful early, then it kind of settled down, and then you were able to get that second place. Congratulations on the second place finish, and good luck at Watkins Glen.
Very much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, there you have it. Second place team today from Team Bushfink. That's the red team. So Bushfink, we had blue, and then we have the red team. All right, Trevor, who you got?
Well, I'm looking for Travis Schwenke from, let me get this straight, Osbury Motorsports, number 75, our second place finisher, trying to get him down into the booth here. And I probably being reminded by my my director that I can just do that myself, and I keep forgetting to do that. Travis, do you have a copy on me here?
Yeah, I sure do.
Well, a great second place finish there. Sonny Kenshin didn't look like he was going to give anything to the field, but a second place finish is definitely a good finish for you and your team there. I know you ended up in the middle of some battles there for sure. How did the race play out from your perspective?
Yeah, it's definitely a good run for us since we had some real-life mechanical issues that, of course, affected the sim for us. But we knew Sonny was running fast. Same with James behind us. We were kind of having to watch both of them. But Sonny we were watching just from the aspect of we were hoping we'd get a yellow. So as soon as we could pit, we made our pit stop and got that second pit done so that we did not have to stop if there was a yellow, and they still had to do their stop. And it took them about 5 laps, I think, before they they finally got in and did it. So we had that little opportunity, but it didn't pay out. But Sonny was uncatchable.
Yeah, it was a dominance by Osbury Motorsports there, and what does it take for a team like you guys to come out here and finish 1, 2, 3 in class? Like, is that must take a lot of work behind the scenes in order to get ready for that sort of dominance?
Yeah, so usually, even with our time zone differences, we try to get a few practice sessions together and, share setups and talk about what we think about the setups, and everyone kind of tries them on their own, and we, share them around, and come race day, of course, we make 5 more changes, and everyone's happy with what they have, and we go out and run. So the practice definitely helps.
Well, definitely a great run by you and all of your teammates out there, Travis. Anyone, any final words or anybody you want to thank before we let you go here?
No, just thank the team for talking us through. I mean, it's hard sometimes on the radio to hear things, but you get kind of caught up in the moment of there's no one around me racing, so you kind of fall asleep. And Sonny was really trying to fall asleep for real. But thanks to them for keeping us going and keeping us on the line to keep charging.
Yeah, the concentration definitely seemed to be playing in with people making little mistakes here and there, but you guys had pretty much a flawless race in order to finish in second, so congratulations on that great run, Travis.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
All right, before we let you guys go, I believe Bill has caught up with Richard Losper there. Bill, do you have him?
I hope so. I'm not sure if he knows I'm going to talk to him. Richard, are you there?
Yeah, I am here, Bill.
Are you?
Go ahead.
You proud daddy today? Did the children do well?
I am proud of everyone, as I always am. I think Sonny's there. Can we pull Sonny in as well?
I don't think he's. Sonny's not there. No, we just have. He's not there.
All right, doesn't matter then. Go ahead. Yeah, look, from our perspective, Travis said it all. We worked very hard before the race to prepare for the race. We checked out all the competition, and we really thought that Giuseppe Iannucci and Nicholas Taymans would be there today, but not to be. We made a very fatal mistake coming out of the pits on our second pit stop. James got a penalty, 15-second hold penalty for speeding in the pits, and that killed our second place. Otherwise, we would have finished in second place.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered, though, for Asbury. It would have been 1, 2, 3, no matter what. This would have switched up the order a little bit. Impressive day for AMS Racing.
Oh, absolutely. Very proud of the guys, especially Tom Rache, who is a very underrated driver. We see him very often in the sister series. Very underrated there. I know the competition's good, but he certainly contributed greatly today to our 1, 2, 3, and Travis Swanky as well. All the guys. I mean, Bill, they just worked so hard.
Well, it was good to see it. Good luck. Let's see if you can be hard act to follow for Watkins Glen, but good luck to you there.
Yeah, Watkins Glen is, I think, all of us a favorite track for us, so it should be good. Cool.
Okay. Richard Losper, kind of the dad of the Asbury Motorsports there. I don't know I don't know what we're gonna, but maybe the leader, the captain. I guess captain might be the good word for you.
How about manager?
Manager. All right. Congratulations, Richard. Good job. Okay, Trevor, bring us home, baby.
I'm thinking there's probably a few different words you could have come up with better than father of there, but manager, captain, all of these work, but great job by those guys for sure. And we want to thank everybody out there for watching in here. We do enjoy putting on these race broadcasts for you guys and enjoy hopefully put on a good show for you guys. And thank you very much for listening. Thanks, of course, to the software and hardware that we use for our broadcasts that you can see listed on your screen. Without all of that stuff, then we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing, and we enjoy doing what we're doing. Additional thanks to our musical contributors. I always have a problem with that word. Apparently it must be a Canadian thing. I'm not sure. Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, whose music you can find at the websites that are listed there on your screen. Thanks to the great and wonderful team we had here today. James, Bill, Amjad, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, along, of course, with the archived races and upcoming broadcasts. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. Our next race for these fine gentlemen in their racing vehicles, I was going to go with a different direction than that, but in the Continental Indoor and Sports Car Series, is June the 18th at 6:05 p.m. Eastern Time, where these drivers head back to North America to one of my favorite tracks, Watkins Glen. We also have other upcoming races for other series on the screen, so check those out and mark them on the calendar so you make sure that you do not miss a moment of action on the Global Sim Racing channel. But, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, remember that the race is rarely won in the first turn, but it's often lost there. So race clean, race hard, and I'll see you out there on the track.